Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of the MinnMax Show, a place about games, friends, getting better. I'm Ben Hansen, joined by Janet Garcia.
Hello.
Joined by Kyle Hilliard.
Hello.
Hello. Joined by Kelsey Lewin.
Hola.
And returning guest, EllieJoyPanic.
Hi.
Hello, welcome.
EJP.
You already have the best voice in the biz. You're worried that your voice was blown out. That was just from SGF and screaming for 4 days straight?
Yeah, it's from the JW bar every night, followed by getting off my flight and immediately recording for the Nintendo Direct yesterday and screaming at that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I watched your reaction stream. It was just an hour of, ah! So I thought that was, a bold choice.
Yeah, there was some excellent facial expressions that I didn't know I could do, quite frankly. So
there's so much that we have to cover. If you don't remember, Ellie, she was on a while ago, but Twitch superstar, let's see, mainly, now you tell me if this is oversimplification, mainly known for playing From Software games in as difficult as a way possible. Is that the best way to phrase it?
yeah, like this SGF was the first time that I think my reputation has preceded me, where I've sat down to play something and somebody's come over and been like, so you're the Souls gamer, right? And I was like, I guess.
Is there like a pressure to perform at that point? Like, it's like, now I gotta be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if there's like difficulty levels and they're like, you want to try like the hardest one and see how you get on. And I was like, yeah, of course, why not? Like, let's give it a go. So happened a couple of times this year and that was bizarre. But yeah, Souls games and then indies are my main kind of thing. So
Hell yeah. Yeah, and you're at SGF, and Janet and Kelsey were also at SGF this year. Travelogue coming up soon. I mean, I think there's going to be an episode of Bonus Pod for unpacking the show in a bigger, more thorough way and stuff. But like, I don't know, Kelsey, do you feel at home at the show at this point? Do you feel comfortable? You know your way around? It's not too stressful?
Yeah, I think so. I really do enjoy this show. It's a pretty, I mean, to be honest, like the difference between this and E3 is the scale is just so much more manageable. So when you say like, do you know your way around? It's like, yeah, you'll know your way around in about 15 minutes.
Right.
And then you just kind of got it. So, and that is absolutely not true of the LA Convention Center. So this is one of the things that I really consider an upgrade from E3 is that it is just easy to get everywhere and know where you are.
Yeah, it's just a cozy little campus out in LA and stuff. And Janet, I mean, how many shows have you been to now?
I think all the ones they've had. Like, when did they start doing this? Like 2020.
1 or 2?
I want to say it was like, didn't
3?
Sarah go to the
This was
first one by
year 5,
herself?
I
Year
think.
5.
Oh, Sarah might have gone to the first one by herself. Yeah. Then I went to the second one, starting at the second one because
Okay.
I was in there pretty early. So yeah, it's been at least this is at least my third one, if not a fourth.
Jeez. Does it feel when you're at the event, do you get a gauge on like how exciting this year is? Because it is like worth stepping back. And if you take what Keeley hopes and dreams for of like the entire summer season is one big Summer Game Fest umbrella, like it is, I think, one of the best, if not the best, a Summer Game Fest season has ever been, just for the caliber of announcements happening here. Like when you're at the show, did it feel like an extra buzzy year, or did it feel like, oh, there's fun stuff to see, good appointments to be had, but not, record shattering?
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely was, to me, the strongest that SGF has been, just in terms of having like the like higher AAA star power, like more interesting things happening. I think the fact that Nintendo was there, even though it was third party, is telling. It's like, okay, where they're at with the Switch 2 and like what they, maybe like the boost they want to start doing to really make this have like a bigger name for itself in like the console ecosystem. But I think like in terms of like hype levels, people are kind of the same. I mean, we're all like pretty reasonable people. I mean, I think we're there to work and get stuff done. So it's not exactly the kind of show where people are gonna run up to me and be like, "Did you play this? It was so cool," and like shake me down. But it's the kind of thing where it's like, "Oh, have you played it?" People talk about it. They're excited about the things they've played, but it's not. People aren't hamming it up. So it's a lot more chill in that sense. I don't think there's anything that would get people to start like screaming down the hallways or anything.
What I really loved about this year was there was so many things available, like the sheer variety on offer in all the showcases and like the actual like playable stuff. There was something for everyone. And that was what was my favorite part about this year, was even though I wasn't like super, super hyped about anything hands-on necessarily, there was so many games that were shown that I was really excited about. And it meant that it didn't matter who you spoke to, everyone had something that they were excited about and really pumped. And that was really cool.
Yeah, they put on a good show. They got a good spread. So that's what we're going to talk about on this episode is what we see as the game of the show. And this is fudging it a little bit, but it's saying like out of all the press conferences, everything, we covered Sony's a bit last week, so maybe a little bit less on that, right? But covering absolutely everything, what do we each see as contenders for the game of the show, the game we're most interested in talking about, the biggest explosions of enthusiasm, all that fun stuff. And then also, thanks to Neil, the mod in Discord, I have a top 10 list from the community where we got like hundreds and hundreds of people in the MinnMax community to kind of rank what they see as the game of the show, so we can see exactly where all that stuff lands. And then back half of the show, of course, we have questions submitted over there on Patreon. Speaking of Patreon, we have an offer for folks, an offer that you can refuse if you want, but maybe you don't want to, which is if you want to support independent games media directly and jump in, if you're a new supporter, at the $5 tier, or if you're a current supporter and you want to upgrade to the Backstage Pass tier to unlock the extended version of a ton of our content like the SGF Travelogue, the MinnMax Spotlight in Spain, the upcoming MinnMax Spotlight from Kyoto. So upgrade or join if you're a new supporter at the $5 tier, and we'll DM you a Steam code for Sifu. The game from Slow Clap from a couple years ago that has just been, I feel like, slowly growing in reputation. It has grown into one of Leo's favorite games as well. And so
he said he'll never delete it from his hard drive.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. Find out why. So we will send you on Patreon a Steam code for Sifu if you support us on Patreon before June 18th. Check the description for availability, but jump in before June 18th and keep your eye on Kepler. They'll have some fun news coming up as well. Kyle, did you feel like it was a good show? Do you feel like it was a Hall of Famer? You were kind of looking like, yeah, was that one of the best?
Yeah, no, it was less like a judgment and more of me considering like, oh yeah, I think you're right. Like, I think there was like a lot of stuff here. I mean, like, I don't know if we want to get right into it.
Why not,
but
man?
like
Do it.
On a small level, I mean, the fact that we got to see Gen Atlas and kind of have an idea of what that is like, for me, that and Playdead, whatever Playdead is working on, are like my two most, that is the thing I am most looking forward to now, period.
Yeah.
Is whatever Ueda's next game is. And it's not even that like watching that trailer was like moving me or making me emotional as much as I was just like, I'm glad that I know at least a little bit of what this thing is, and like I'm happy to see it and I can't wait to experience it.
Yeah.
Do you have thoughts on it being a gun game? It's got guns in it. That's weird, right?
Not really. I mean, I have seen some like, I don't know, discourse is such a gross word, but like I have seen some people being like annoyed by it, but like I talked to Ueda around when Last Guardian came out, and I went and found the old interview, and he was like, I'm not like committed to like a medieval era or something. You know what I mean? Like, he's open to whatever. He just likes video games. And like, I love that this is like a sci-fi direction. And frankly, I don't really know how those guns work or what they mean. Shooting guns in video games is fun. Like, I think it could totally work here, but I don't see it as something that like he's not allowed to touch or anything like that. But I am definitely enamored with like the idea of like having this giant floating robot head vehicle that you can like displace on other robots to like solve puzzles and things like that. Like, and it's one of those that's like, I have a million questions that I don't want answers to kind of games, you know? And that's just really enticing to me. I fall in love with that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm glad it looks different from his work with Sony. And it is so weird though to see what looks like a Shadow of the Colossus like gameplay thing of like being on the top of this giant robot, but then you're just like unloading a gun into the weak points and stuff. But like, I think it'd be different, Kelsey, if it was like we see Ueda's new game and it's just kind of Call of Duty corridors or something like that, and you're just shooting enemies. But the fact that it's like there's a couple shots where it seems like a weapon is firing a gun, but the rest still looks really bold and weird, and even like the color vibes and everything, it still feels like an Ueda game, even though it's kind of post-apocalyptic desert stuff, you know?
It's still, and I hope this is true, and it could not be, but it still looks like a game to me that no one is giving him extensive notes, right? Like there's no executive kind of being like, have you considered adding a gun and players really like shooting? Like, and maybe that's what it is. Maybe Epic is more hands-on with this thing than I realized, but like my dream is that Epic would just backed up a truck of money to his house and said, we'll see you in 6 years. You know, like that's what I want, you know, and that's the sense I get from watching the trailer, you know?
Yeah. It's just fun to see like Ueda out there as well, like doing interviews, the fact that they cut to him at the Summer Game Fest showcase and stuff, where it's like, I think I could have walked by that guy on the street. I don't think I really had a good idea of what Ueda even looked like. So just seeing him out and about, taking selfies with people, I was like, this is surreal, but thank God that this voice is getting out there again.
There's an interview on GameInform.com. Marcus Stewart talked to him, and the fact that he was asking him questions about like Wall-E and the Iron Giant and stuff, and Ueda was kind of like, yeah, I like those movies. It's like, he's a guy that likes movies, huh? He's just such a mysterious, like weird person.
He's just like you and me.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, exactly. I really do have that with him in a way. So yeah, Jen Atlas was very exciting for me, even though I don't like the name. I think the name's kind of weird. But,
it feels like it should be like an extraction shooter or something, right? It's just kind of like, okay. And yeah, no release date yet, but very curious to see.
Maybe ever.
Maybe ever. Ellie, what do you think? What was the biggest game that was making you scream the most? Maybe during the reaction stream or being at the show. Sorry to put you right into the deep end of the pool, but what was it?
No, this is not the deep end. I've told this story so many times this weekend because this is like, I had like a dream come true this weekend multiple times over. Like career highlight level stuff, like so cool. So backstory, Spyro the Dragon is the first game I ever played.
Hell yeah.
My dad was given a demo disc because his friend was like, this is a kid's game, you have a child kind of thing. And gave my dad Spyro. I loved it. My parents bought me the full game. It was like all I played for 2 years because, you know, as a kid, you get like one game a year or whatever. And as a consequence, I lost my mind when the Reignited trilogy was announced. And then it released on my birthday, and I took the day off work to stream it for the first time ever. I did a stream on Twitch for myself, not for work.
Oh, wow.
And a bunch of people showed up and were like, this is really cool. And I was like, should we do it again? And here I am 8 years later, streaming, going to events, still covering Spyro like once a year, twice a year, doing marathon streams, charity stuff, whatever. I never in a million years thought we'd get another Spyro game. So I turned to my friend when the little guys came on screen in the Xbox Theater showcase and slapped him and went, shut the up. And then just burst into tears as Spyro's little feet came on the screen. And I cried for pretty much the rest of the presentation. And then I cried at my Xbox contact when I went outside after the presentation. And I was like, you don't know how much this means to me. Like, couldn't even get words out at one point. And she was like, leave it with me. And then I got to interview the devs a couple of hours later.
Nice.
Which mostly resulted in me just again crying in a room with like Jason Schreier and people, you know, like just an absolute mess. I've never lost my composure so hard in a professional setting. But it was just this surreal moment of being so excited for something that I never thought would happen.
Yeah. And
being able to be in the room with the people making it happen. I was like a child and just couldn't contain myself. So that is 100% hands down my highlight of everything, even though I know it's not going to be everyone's favorite or game of the show contender or anything like that. But that for me was just such a huge deal. I
get the nostalgia, but like, did the gameplay, like the sort of flight focused element, was that exciting, or was it just mostly like, hey, a new Spyro is coming? That's all. That's what I'm excited for. Okay.
Yeah, new Spyro in the hands of Toys for Bob as well.
That's huge.
Like, considering they did such a good job with Reignited, having previously done Skylanders, which kind of carried some of the DNA, but wasn't really a Spyro game, you know. And we've had like the PS2 games and the GameCube games and the DS games and Game Boy stuff. Like, there's been iterations for the last like 20 years, 30 years, whatever, of a variety of Spyro stuff. But knowing that the Toys for Bob team did Reignited, and then we're like, we want to make more Spyro, and made Crash instead. And then we're absorbed into the Call of Duty machine. And then went to Microsoft and said, hey, we want to make Spyro. And they said, okay, diverged from Activision. You can make this game.
They're free, sort of.
I mean, that is
the leash was extended to Spyro.
It is so strange, I think, to be like, all right, we are technically under the Microsoft banner. We want our independence, just like Bungie got way back in the day. Please free us, and then we'll work on a property that you own still. Like, it's a really interesting, unique situation. And Toys for Bob has been around for so long. God, what were the old space games they used to make? Like, but they are a really, really old, cool studio. And the fact that they're like getting to have a new stab at a Spyro game. Because like, they said, I guess it was 2008 was the last Spyro game, Dawn of the Dragon, which I did not play, I never even touch. But like, we're coming up on 20 years, and just for a franchise that you would think like,
That's crazy.
The team to make it would be Toys for Bob, but they're not under the Microsoft umbrella anymore. And the fact that they actually are the ones getting to jump in there. Now, this does mean they're not making Crash. They're not making Crash 5, even though they did a great job with Crash 4. They're not making Banjo-Kazooie, which I think a lot of people were like, this is the obvious team to make the new Banjo-Kazooie.
That was asked in the session I did as well. There was like, what about Crash? What about Banjo? And they were like, we are so focused on Spyro. This has been where our attention has been from making Reignited. We had this idea to develop it further. And there was a lot of like, my background in like games PR, media, like media training, all that kind of stuff, marketing. I know when there's buzzword answers and like PR answers, and I know when there is passion. And I felt so much passion from the team where they'd give us the like cookie cutter answer, and then they would be like, but also, and then expand on it with their own actual thoughts. And it was just really reassuring to hear from them that they are not using like a feature list that they're aiming for. They have a word cloud from the community of the things that mean Spyro. Everything goes back to what is Spyro for people. So that sold it to me. And I was like, okay, being able to fly, cool, interesting, excited to see how it works.
Yeah.
But they have heart, I think.
That's nice.
And that's nice.
Yeah. There was some confusion about like, is it just going to be like a flying game? And so the way they've been talking about it is that like, I kind of want to go back and look at gameplay for even the last one, like Dawn of the Dragon, to see, but it seems like it's never really been done of like with Spyro, you can glide, that's part of the platforming, and then there's like, at least in the original series, then there's like timed flying stages. Never the twain shall meet, but actually being able to, in any environment, like run and build up speed and then start flying around. It seems so obvious and simple, but it's like, you should be able to do that whenever you want. You're a dragon, fly or run. And so just that.
Yeah, but he's little.
He's little.
Well,
That's
he's
kind of why I
growing
always felt.
Little guy.
They've said, like, because that was one of the questions in the session was like, has he grown up a little bit? It looks like he's grown up a little bit. And they were like, yeah, he's a bit bigger. He's got bigger wings. Like his crest is larger. It's going to be a
How old is he
continuation
now?
almost. Who knows? How old was he originally? He was a baby.
I don't know. I always felt like he was like 8. Right?
Yeah.
Was he actually is this my way of finding out Spyro was 32 and Ricto's age and I just didn't clock
Dragon's
it?
age weird. Like,
Everyone's kind of creeped out by Spyro still hanging around.
Yeah, what's up with that, dude? Yeah, that's interesting. So it's kind of like Insomniac's pitch for Spider-Man of like, it's him at the peak of his powers. Like, we've only seen baby Spyro before, but now he's 18 and strong, or whatever the hell their angle is.
using
For
profanity.
Yeah. But
Yeah, he's edgy now.
I'm right there with
I
you.
was
think
really
that's
pleased though
exciting.
that they're bringing Tom Kenny back. That was like one of the things that they were like, we're allowed to talk about the flying. We're allowed to talk about Tom Kenny.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's good that they're bringing him back because he's got the voice already. He's been doing it for since 1999, I think.
Yeah, the
was
second
because he
game.
did Spyro 2. So yeah, bringing him back is great.
I am having flashbacks. I think we totally talked about Spyro the last time you were on this show. And like that was your
Probably.
like dream project. Yeah.
It's one of those things that I just bring it up.
Yeah, no, that's
There's like
fair.
5
Gotta
things
manifest it.
that I will regularly bring up, and all of them were appearing at the Summer Game Fest, like under the umbrella. So
And can you imagine if Spyro Realm Beyond has like a super meaty difficulty mode? Just like the hardest for permadeath in a Realm Beyond. Oh, the sweet EllieJoyPanic fuel at that point. Let's see. Kelsey, I mean, out of everything, what do you want to jump into?
It's hard to choose, but I think I want to talk about stuff that we actually like played and did at SGF
Yeah, please.
first. And so I'll start with Onimusha, which as a somewhat newly minted Onimusha fan after the deepest dive, I had just a really wonderful experience playing the demo for that game, which they told me it was a different demo than the public demo. I do not know what the difference is, but I think it was just a different section of the game that was kind of
you describe it briefly? Like
I mean, I've played both. If you need.
Oh, great. Okay.
I just want to know that they were for sure different. That's so weird that they were different, but that's cool.
The public demo is what I played last year.
I see.
It's like the intro section of the game, basically, whereas this demo was much deeper and it was kind of a more fleshed out full area that you could explore. There was side quests there, but not available. And it was like go through a mission and fight a boss at the end. And the boss had actual moves, and like it was a way more interesting and complex encounter as opposed to the public demo, which people are saying is quite easy.
Right.
But it
is there not a boss fight in the public demo?
There's two.
Oh,
there's two, but it's like, here's your intro to big boy combat. Here's your intro to little skinny man with a sword combat. And then this was, here's your intro to fast, punchy beast man that has a whole bunch of different things that he can do.
Well, I didn't play that one because I think I did the public one also last year, but like at Gamescom. And that was enough for me. I had my plate full on the combat.
So I don't know, Janet, if what you played, if they offered the two different difficulty levels, but this was my first time engaging with what I think they're just calling story mode with it, which is a lighter difficulty level, but not a like hold your hand baby level. I was really pleased with the balancing they did with that, because I was talking to the Capcom rep and I was like, look, I played Onimusha 1. It was definitely a struggle for me at times, particularly like the final boss. I was near throwing my controller at the screen level of like frustrated. And I kind of feel like these types of games have only gotten more difficult since then. And so I was like, tell me that this isn't going to be like, you can either have Dark Souls hard or, just mash the X button or the square button or whatever, and you'll just be fine. And they're like, no. Like the story mode still, you're going to have to learn how to dodge, how to, do, like, you may not necessarily have to do all of your, they call it Isen moves. Is that I forget the phrasing.
Yeah.
That's the like super exact timing stuff. But the dodge, the deflect, even the parry, I found pretty darn approachable, which was really heartening for me. And so, the boss only took me one try, but it also wasn't, just like a cakewalk. I really enjoyed the combat. I was able to feel very cool, like deflecting arrows back at people. And I am just so excited that Ben, it is still just as weird, and goofy, and silly.
Good.
And I was like, without spoiling it, the end of that boss fight that we played was just the goofiest little. The guy became such a goofy little guy, and I was like, yes, this is exactly what I wanted.
Yeah. They're just little freaks, aren't they? It's a game filled with little freaks.
That's what you want. That's what I've been rooting for in a big way. And they've teased it a little bit in the trailers, but not to the extent that I'm hoping for. I want this to be, like the Muppets. I want it just to be a group.
It's a little Muppety.
Yeah.
Okay. But like in it does the wonderful job of like pretending it's a very serious thing.
Right. Perfect.
And then you kick their butts and then they become a goofy little Muppet and you're like, this is perfect.
Love it. Yeah. I can't wait to jump into that thing when it comes out in September, of course, with everything else in the world.
Yeah. Same vein as Kelsey, stuff we actually played. Control. I mean, this is like kind of the boring pick because it's like Control, a really good game, and now they're making another one, and it seems like it's going to be really good. It's like
Surprise.
Very obvious.
It's also good.
Exactly. That was also just a fun appointment because we, it was me, Kelsey, and then Isaiah also joined us. And all three of us shared a station at the Annapurna Control booth, and just sort of were like getting to experience it together and pick like our little weapon upgrades and pass the controller. But yeah, it's still wildly stylish. I think the melee combat's amazing. I'm so excited for it. And I was heartened to hear that, for me, I loved everything about Control, except for like, I think the map was like a little rough. But other than that, I kind of had no notes. It was such a fun experience, and I loved the gunplay of Control. But I know a lot of people didn't. Like if you had a gripe with control, it seemed like a lot of people weren't into the gunplay. Again, can't relate, but something I heard a lot, and I was very heartened to hear from talking to people that even if you were in that camp, those people were into the melee combat as well. So I think this is gonna be just. It's hard to imagine it going wrong, which I know is like I never want to be too hot on a preview, but I think the combo of knowing what the studio can do and then seeing what they did, because we had like close to like an hour of gameplay. We sort of had us essentially like the beginning, and then they jumped us ahead to like later when you had more moves. Unfortunately, we all had appointments like where we couldn't really spend a lot of time with that. I was like, literally just give me like 90 seconds in there before I leave, just to like, hit a couple buttons, see how it can build. And it's so like natural, but still engaging. Like, I think they do a good job making melee combat that is like very button mashable, but also like you can bring in the intentionality with like dodging, with like having your meters fill up, with doing your special moves. And it's really freaking good. Also, there's a lot of like weird parkour-y platform gliding in it. Like Kelsey, you did a big part of that where you were sort of like levitating. You basically looked like Jesus at one point in your session.
There was some really good, the traversal in that game was excellent. And, you never know exactly what slice of the game the demo is, or if it's going to be the same, but it seemed like you were just kind of unlocking new traversal things very quickly and in a very satisfying way. So you went from kind of like a basic, slightly superhuman platforming kind of thing to then having the ability to just sort of like rise like Jesus through the air and like double jump and just do this kind of it was very, very fun traversal that made those sections very fun.
We all picked a big hammer for our upgrade. We're like, which one? I was like, which one do we want? We're like, we want the big bonk stick. Mm-hmm. And like hitting that thing was incredible and like weirdly goofy, but in a way that still felt like, I don't know, it tonally works. Like you can kind of get away with it being like gameplay that's fun. What a concept. But genuinely, it was a thrill to play.
Kelsey's a big fan of stylish action games. I am curious, like how much Devil May Cry is in there in the combat? Is it like approaching that genre?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Totally. Yeah, I would say so. Very fun to just chain together. I mean, it also, you have a pretty good amount of versatility, it seems, in your weapon choices. So, I mean, you can make it faster or slower based on what you're choosing there. Like obviously big bonking hammer is going to slow you down a little bit with your combos. But like, yeah, I would absolutely classify it as a stylish action game.
Interesting.
Do you have to go into a menu to change your melee weapon, or you can switch?
It seems like it's a loadout that you kind of it's tough to tell because there was only one of those like areas where you would be changing it in this demo. Mm-hmm. It seems like there's certain things that you have to set in this specific area where you set your loadout. I don't know. I'm trying to remember, Janet.
It seems like it's a lot kind of like how Control was, where you have like the morph gun. It's like you have a morph hammer where like it appears as like just like a stick. There's like which I just love how Remedy does their stuff. Like it just makes it so like fun and specific to like their style of world building, where it begins with you having this like pseudo vision. I don't know if this happens, but like Faden stabbing you in the chest with like the stick. Then you pull the stick out of yourself, and the game kind of asks, what kind of stick do you have? Is it, they give you like 3 options, and one is like slightly more ranged, and I forget what the other 2 were. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna go with the ranged one. And then later they're like, what's your secondary maneuver, which is like just kind of mapped to a different button. So it wasn't like I'm changing from my more ranged style of like melee weapon to my big hammer. Like it was kind of like my heavy attack also appears as being visually distinctive as this giant hammer. So it's very smooth in that way, where it's not like you're going to be, it's not a swap the way I feel like you traditionally think of swapping things, at least in what we played. Again, maybe it builds more complicated later and you are kind of setting certain things. But we saw a little bit of like, it seems there's also like a bunch of things you can unlock, like skill tree stuff, like upgrades, unlocks, like, you get the perfect dodge and all of that. And it flows together very smoothly, and it seems like you're gonna have like a lot of options. Like I had already chosen a distance thing, but one of the options, like with the big bonking hammer, was essentially like a whip. I was like, oh, okay. Again, I'm just looking for Castlevania everywhere, so I'm like,
Yeah, so Mina the Hollower.
you can just whip it. Yeah, I was just like,
it
I'm
seems
just
like you're
trying
aiming
to
for
have some fun
versatility.
with it.
Like,
yeah.
just play how you want to play.
Yeah. I mean, it's a really
totally.
specific sort of, I don't know, criticism's not the right word, but a thing that I like is like, I just want all my tools accessible. You know, I like the gun and control because like you don't go into menus to like change your gun or anything. You know, it's I want to be able to like not have to pause, especially in an action.
Hey,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
You know?
That
It
makes
definitely felt that way in what I played, but again,
Cool.
you know, maybe later it might be slightly different, but yeah.
I have to tip my cap to Remedy 1,000 different times, but like for a game that they're publishing themselves, I'm so amazed. Just for the video production team alone, they had trailers everywhere. They were in the PC Gaming Show, they were in the State of Play, they were in the Summer Game Fest Showcase. They were just like, fire everything we have to try and get the message out there. And even like them, you said they're in the Annapurna booth?
Yeah.
That's interesting because like it's not published by Annapurna, but Annapurna is working on films and TV. They announced a collaboration with Remedy for the Control universe. So that's like a weird connection for
Yeah, it was
why
like the
you'd
same-
be there.
I imagine it's
Building.
I imagine it's like a PR thing kind of thing. Like I think they're how like underneath the same like PR umbrella.
Oh, okay.
Is like
that could
the thing
be.
I think. Like
That
I think
makes
it's like a
sense.
Terra Bruno PR
Yeah.
joint. So it's like we're all just in one section with one kind of aesthetic and everything.
Yeah.
I see.
And all the
that's
t-shirts,
how I
like
read
they had
it.
Annapurna t-shirts that were like almost identical to the Remedy t-shirts. So like it was clearly
it's
they
giving
were
one
trying
order.
to
Yeah.
like contain everything under that one like
Did
label.
Did you get
like-
those? Did you guys get those like PS2 boxes that had like Control? Did you see
They were
those?
that-
We saw them.
Yeah.
Were we supposed to take those? I
Yeah,
felt
we
like they were
didn't-
just for decoration.
They
I
didn't
don't
give
know.
us one.
I was
They
just
were
I
tucked
thought
in
those
like
were
a claw machine, but not reachable to take and win. So I don't know if they
okay.
were like available. But yeah, they had them for every Annapurna game at the showcases.
That's cool.
They had a GameCube, like N64, PS2. Like it was really cool.
okay because I just
Yeah.
kept seeing Control in a PS2 box, and I was like, that's
Yeah.
cool. I like that, but like, are you guys trying to like get across the
why?
energy that this is like a PS2 game? Like,
Right,
I was
right.
No,
think
I
they
think
did it
that's
for-
funny.
They did it for every single game they had. So I think they were just
Yeah.
kind of, and they did this last year at their booth as well, where they just
For
had
mixtape.
Yeah, for
Right,
mixtape.
right.
So they were clearly just kind of going for like last year it was more of a, like an old you know, you're like in some guy's cool basement in the 90s kind of vibe.
All right.
And this time it was more like a movie theater or a video rental store in the 90s kind of vibe,
Yeah.
but still same. The range didn't quite make sense for I think the vibe they were going for because they had Super Nintendo and PS2 at the same
Right,
time, you
whatever.
know, so it's like
It's
a little
just-
bit of a wide range there, but
Yeah.
you
it's
walked
just, like,
out, you're like,
old
I can't.
stuff.
This doesn't.
yeah,
make
and I
sense.
was
I'm
like, the
offended.
seal on this is wrong. They're missing it. Like this is
Oh yeah, what was it called? The T
H
seal or
seal
something? I know
seal?
the H seal.
yeah,
The H seal? Yeah.
yeah. That's a classic on Nintendo boxes. Although honestly, I'd be impressed if they could replicate it because then I'd have to start worrying about like forgeries and stuff.
No, you
So
get it
it's
right.
good that they
I
don't.
mean,
know
they
how
didn't want
to
to.
do
They
that.
didn't want to tip their hand. You know, they're like,
Yeah.
we can't make the forgery too good, or some Nintendo might get mad across the way. But yeah, their theme was like just kind of like theater, which I mean works for when you're do a lot of their stuff. Like Annapurna was like hands-off theater presentations.
Full-size
that
candy
that
bars,
makes
though.
sense.
That's fine.
Yes.
Not bad. Not
Yeah.
bad.
I'll allow it.
Backstage Pass, they brought up the real dire situation, which I think we're going to have to lean into. Because, like, obviously September's big. We'll talk about it later in the show. But, like, a lot of these September releases are really good options for deepest dives, like our big multi-part game club discussions. So, like, last time with Alan Wake 2, we let people vote. And, like, are we going to have to have another vote for Patreon supporters between Wolverine, Control, Silent Hill Townfall, and Onimusha? Wouldn't that be awesome just to have those four go head to head? If they all stay in September, I think Control would win. I think.
I mean, there's definitely some of those are stronger than others.
Oh,
We're going to be on there. Oh my God, who
Interesting.
said that? That's crazy.
What were the other two? Onimusha and
Wolverine.
Yeah, Wolverine would be a big
One is not like the
contender, I
others. You know, I don't know. I'm just saying.
think. Interesting. All right.
I really shouldn't be talking smack because I'm not going to be on any of them, but
Okay.
probably.
All
but
right.
Yeah.
Do you insist? Well, one that we for sure we'll lock it in at this point here and now. Are going to be doing a deepest dive on. I cannot imagine a universe where it would not happen. Is a certain game called Final Fantasy VII Revelation, everybody. Revelation's the name they went with after so much speculation, after on the big predictions.
And you did have that when you went through and you did your like 8 names, right?
I don't think so. On the big predictions episode at the start of the year, I went through like 10 variants. I did not have Revelation. I might have had like Revolutions or something.
Or maybe a plural, right? Revelations.
Maybe. I went because I'm like, God, did I call that? I went back and looked at my notes and I don't think so. Because I was on Team Reckoning. Like, I think Reckoning's going to be the big climactic thing, but just an old-fashioned
Reckoning would have been better.
I think so too. But look, I didn't get to name it. That's fine. Also,
Persona already has Revelations. Like the first Persona is technically Revelations Persona.
Hey,
so
look, Final Fantasy VII.
I just feel like the JRPG girlies shouldn't be fighting like that. You know,
it's a mess. But then to make it even messier, we had the Doom the Dark Ages expansion that is also called Revelations for that big DLC expansion. It's like everyone's claiming everything. Yeah. Genesis, there were a couple different. It was like Saw Genesis, then Xenoblade Genesis. We'll get into that in a a little bit.
Genesis.
A lot of Resonance.
Resonance is huge. But this, in a similar way to Control, like it seems so weird to care this much about Final Fantasy VII, but also to care this much about like messaging and marketing. And I'm sorry, I know it's gross, but I get emotional thinking about how happy I get at what a big push the grand finale of the Final Fantasy VII trilogy is getting. Like the fact that the SGF showcase ended, not just with the announcement, the trailer, name reveal, but then they're like, hey, actually the whole back half of the show, the final 20 minutes, we are just going to show video after video. It's not going to stop. And then when you think it stops and it shows the weapon coming out of the water to Junon and then it cuts off in a big climactic moment, it's like, actually, no, we're going to show you that entire sequence as well. We're just going to keep going within Keeley's showcase in a way that was like, whoa, they are ripping the Band-Aid fully off this, revealing as much as they can. And then the part that I genuinely get emotional about is then it was like, all right, Hamaguchi is going to be doing interviews everywhere, and messaging the idea this is launching in the spring of 2027, earlier than most people thought, on every system, Switch 2, Xbox, PC. We are there day one. We want to give this the best possible chance to succeed. And the one that really killed me was when the director of this game went to Maximilian Dood's house to record an interview. Like, I have watched Maximilian Dood talk about the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy for dozens and dozens of hours. He's a one-man deepest dive over there. Well, look, if he wants to fly out to Minnesota, I will open the doors. He can come hang out in the studio whenever he wants. But just the idea of, they are so smart and so clued in. They're like, yeah, we need Maximilian Dood. Let's just go to his house in the middle of SGF chaos because we know that he is so influential when it comes to talking about this game. It's just super smart. I don't think I've ever seen something pushed this aggressively and this well. Because, I don't know, you all let me know what you think. People who liked Remake were a little bit cooler on Rebirth. I think it's fair to say the overall MinnMax group was at. Did this get you excited? Or what was your reaction to them just being more? Here we go. Look at all this stuff.
Ben, I was mostly watching your face.
Yeah, I was like,
how sweet and happy you looked. And
this is his Spyro.
It is my Spyro, absolutely.
No, I am excited about it. I wish there was an easier way to get to the point in this story that I just don't see myself getting through the middle part. You know what I mean?
Sure.
For me, and I'm obviously a big JRPG fan, and I think they've done a lovely job overall with this remake in general, but it's a lot. It's a big ask, and getting through 2 fairly long games before this, I don't know. I want there to just be a little movie I can watch at the beginning to, I know what happens in Final Fantasy VII, but
sure.
You know what I mean?
Well, look,
you could watch MinnMax's Deepest Dives on
that's not a little movie. We talked about Rebirth for over 24 hours, so I don't think that exactly.
That's like 3 seasons of a Netflix show, basically.
Yeah, but you can eat dinner while you consume that. While playing is way more. Active.
They're going to have the messaging of, it's a great place to jump in, just like for Mass Effect 3. They're like, it's a great place to jump in, which, whatever. I guess you could. I'm sure they're going to have some recap, if you've really needed here. But at the same time, Kelsey, what you're looking for is just watch a 20-minute video on YouTube, and if you know the beats of Final Fantasy VII enough, you'll be fine jumping into this. Like, I'd rather have you jump in and experience it compared to like, well, I might be missing a couple little nods to what happened.
I'm toxic.
Yeah,
I want
fair.
Kelsey to force herself to play the middle one to play the last one. So
I'm in
on the note of
Kelsey's camp as well.
toxicity,
Okay,
Like,
okay.
100%. Like, also as a fan of very specific like JRPG franchises, I wouldn't want people to jump in at the end, because then you miss all the context that makes everything so juicy, like at the end. So.
Yeah, but look, you'll miss a little juice, but would you rather chug 80% of a glass of orange juice or none of the orange juice? I'm saying chug that juice.
Yeah, but what if
people
you
are gonna be like,
have
why didn't you finish
theory
your orange
that-
juice?
1,000 glasses of orange
I
juice
know.
available to drink? Like,
As
all in
true,
September.
as like a Xenoblade fan, if you were like, I'm only going to play 3 and then the DLC, I'd be like, "Ugh, don't play
I've
the
yelled at people
DLC
for
until
that.
you actually, you know.
I have gone to town at people about that. People being like, 3 was my first. And I'm like, why? Like, I get really mad
Just
about
don't-
it.
Just don't play the DLC until you've played the other ones.
Yep.
But you also have to play the
theory that,
DLC.
like, I feel like we overemphasize like the sort of preamble up to like you can get caught up pretty quickly like in a story, honestly. Like I went and saw He-Man recently. I don't know anything about He-Man at all.
Yeah.
And I was like, I get it. Like, I understand who these people are. I went to like a movie recently with my daughter that was like on a web series that she's been watching for years. And we watched like an episode of it. I had zero context. It's like, I figured it out by the end. It wasn't like
Backrooms?
you can catch
not-
up.
you're
You
not
can
gonna-
watch
I think the
you can
Sephiroth
watch
guy might be kind of
Avengers
bad.
Endgame without any context. And you can basically figure it out and you can understand character relationships. I don't know. I feel like as someone who did start with Mass Effect 2, it's fine. You'll figure it out. It's not that complicated.
Here's the thing. Crew, team aboard the Highwind here. Like, are we punishing this team for announcing the game because they made 2 other great games? It feels like there's like the
No.
weight of like,
No. It's just like, what do you do with it? And I think also with that middle
good.
one
It looks
being
good. We
kind
like
of,
it. We like it. You have good opinions.
Okay,
with that
fine.
middle one being kind of contentious, I think it is that question of like, well, do I like force myself to finish if I wasn't liking it? And I'm toxic. I say, yeah, I want you to do that because I think it'll make for a more thorough conversation and understanding of what the franchise is and what the, like, you kind of have to eat your vegetables. And just because they made the vegetables in an 80-hour game, I don't know. That's what happened. Now I'm on the toxic position of like, what do I do with this? I think the gameplay is really fantastic in these games.
Yeah.
The story has been a mixed bag for me personally.
Fair.
Now, when Rebirth happened, I had made a promise to myself. And I said, I'm not playing this third one unless I hear from trusted individuals that it's okay, that it's a safe space for me to enter. And yet, it does feel like, but I'm right there. It's like, we could just finish the whole thing. So I'm torn. Do I want to betray the promises I've made to myself and to various audiences and go back for
What do you mean
3?
by, like, is it a safe space? Like, are you worried that the story won't be satisfying? Is that what you're
I'm
saying?
worried that it'll feel like a kind of a slog, because Rebirth felt like a slog for me by the end of it. Halfway through, I just put it on easy, and I was begging for that game to be over.
Okay,
I don't think they're going to have this problem because it is the ending. Like, a lot of people have taught, and Ben, I'm sure you can speak more clearly to this because you know the franchise. They're like, yeah, they did kind of maybe drag out the middle. Like, maybe the middle shouldn't be a whole game, but the ending is going to be so good. Like, it's going to be so worth it to be back there.
Well,
and it's like, will it though?
Well, yes.
I don't know.
there's a
And I don't know what I want to do
things.
with it.
First of all, like, there is so much game left. It is bananas how much of Final Fantasy VII they still have to get you. Like, all of my favorite stuff from Final Fantasy VII, they have not even gotten to yet. It's like, I feel a little bit like it's waiting for the Avatar sequels of like, oh, eventually they're going to really get roaring. Like, this is kind of the meat and potatoes of what I think is interesting, and how they approach it, I think, is going to be an interesting discussion, because there's a lot of things they've already revealed, like 80% of, so to call it revelation, to be like, oh, now we're going to reveal the real story. So it's interesting on a couple levels. One of them is there's so much to squeeze in that I worry about, like, oh, this might really fly. It might just be action-packed, big things happening, bada bing, bada boom. But then on top of that, on top of already a lot to squeeze in, there's the meta layer, which, without getting too deep, but the whole idea of light spoilers for remake, but it's all just theoretical at this point, is the idea that, hey, Sephiroth knows that he's in a remake of a trilogy, basically, to summarize what's happening here, right? And so there are so many layers on top that they also need to resolve, and maybe that's just Final Fantasy VII ends as normal, and then there's one extra boss fight where Sephiroth monologues for a bit before it. That's like the messiest, but maybe the best way to go, because there's so many layers to wrap up here that I can't wait to see how they do it. So it's going to be dense. Now, here's the thing, Janet. So a lot of things happening. A lot of big things happening, because as the trailers show, it's a lot of fighting the weapons, which are like huge guardians of the planet. That's kind of like the celebratory thing about, the second disc of Final Fantasy VII. But the thing that I think hopefully will win over some skeptics of Rebirth is like, you basically uncovered the planet in Rebirth. And that was the part that was frustrating. It's like, oh, hey, climbing the towers, doing the Ubisoft thing. It's a bunch of checklists. And at this point now, it's like, hey, bam, you have the airship, you have the Highwind, and you can fly anywhere you want. So it's not going to be slowly uncovering the map anymore, because the map is basically done. There's new environments we haven't been to yet, like Wutai, Rocket Town, stuff like that, that'll be cool. But it's not going to be as Ubisoft checklisty in theory, because the wild thing here, and it's so smart, is that you can just parachute down to the ground. You're in the airship, and then instead of landing the airship on weird rocky terrain and stuff, it's like, you can just apparently skydive out of there. And I'm really curious if it's like set points in the map. That would make more sense. You can skydive here. But it's so smart. And I didn't think of it because I was really curious how they're going to do the whole airship thing. But there is a sequence towards the end of the second disc in Final Fantasy VII where there is like a parachuting set piece. And so it's such a smart idea of like, yeah, we took that one idea and now have blown it out to this entire finale of the game, which is... I can't believe I didn't think of it. Of course they're going to be parachuting in like freaking Fortnite all the time, but it's super smart.
It is fun.
Is Cloud in Fortnite?
God, I don't think so.
Isn't he?
Who isn't in Fortnite at this point?
It just feels like he probably is, but I don't ever actually remember seeing this.
I mean, honestly, they're marketing, and it seems like maybe desperate push of like, we need to get as many people as possible. Maybe that'd be the final thing to nudge them over the corner. I mean, on top of them hitting every marketing beat possible, the fact that Tifa's in Street Fighter 6, another way just to like, how do we gin up as much excitement as possible? And so, hey, if we have to put Vincent or whatever in Fortnite, like whatever you got to do to get people in.
I mean, they were trying to they made their own battle royale within Final Fantasy VII specifically. So I think they were like trying to probably withhold those characters for themselves, but that game's already done, right?
And they admitted defeat. It's all done.
Yeah.
Basically, I need a Rebirth hater to do the reconnaissance for me. I know many of them, so they're gonna, and I know they're sick. They're gonna play this, and I'm gonna say, "Wait, what do you think?" And they report back and say, "Yeah, I'll go
like
in
an
there."
impartial opinion on a game that is already, the expectations are up here, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, Janet, I don't think you're going to be able to talk to them because every Rebirth hater is in the loony bin where they should be, locked away, threw away the key.
Don't worry, I got a direct line to the loony bin, and I'll just but I think that's what I should probably do.
My sort of alternate reaction is like, I am sort of committed at this point. I've played the other two, and it's like, I don't really need any other incentive to play. If that I'm in one of those situations where it's like, great. I would, I mean, honestly, like truly, like they could have just been like, the next one's called Resident Evil. Like, whoa, that's crazy.
I'm confused.
Revelation. They could have showed me a logo and a date, and I'd been like, yeah, no, I'm there. I don't really need anything else at this point. I've dropped 100 hours into both across those two games. You know? So
at least.
So like I don't really need all the sort of excessive interviews and things like that, but they're cool. Like it's sure, why not? Yep.
So there's stuff like Queen's Blood is back. It's so the big thing is like having the Highwind, having skydiving is massive. But then just when you think, I think that the combat in Rebirth in particular is like my favorite combat maybe in any game ever. I think it's so awesome. And it's like, I don't know what they could possibly do. They have a couple new characters. I guess that'll be interesting and then shake it up in a way. But then the addition of what they're calling the fit system, where you can change your class, is such a smart idea. Just including classes for the first time in Final Fantasy VII is such a wild idea, because that was kind of the radical approach with 7 back in the day, is like with the materia system, you can kind of create characters the way you want them to be created. You can kind of make them into whatever class you kind of want them to be. And so now to kind of go backwards and be like, okay, you have the freedom of the materia system, and now overlapping on top of that, we're basically going to have a Final Fantasy X to Final Fantasy V style job system where you can.
But don't you think they started backwards from we need to give these characters different outfits?
Probably.
Yeah.
I know the outfits are so cute.
See?
Yeah, they look great.
Yeah, it's like, hey, you want Tifa to be a black mage? That's a cool idea.
Yeah, Tifa's little like sleeves. Kelsey, there's dramatic sleeves.
Yeah.
Big sleeves.
There's dramatic sleeves in the game. Maybe we should go back here.
Hell yeah. So yeah, it's coming out spring 2027. I'm so excited. It's just them teasing so many things about how they're going to handle the weapons, how they're going to handle Knights of the Round is the big question. It's worth an iconic summon that lasts forever in the original game. And so they are so smart about hitting the notes that they want, that they know fans want them to hit. That like, I have complete faith that whatever they do with something as iconic as Knights of the Round is going to be awesome. So I'm pretty pumped. Although I was a little confused in the Max Dude interview from his house. They're talking about chocobo breeding, which is a big part of the original game. To get Knights of the Round, strangely enough, you needed to do this whole chocobo breeding mini game, which took so long to do, but it was kind of like an iconic thing. And they said like, oh, it's in there, but mainly you're going to be like leveling up one chocobo, and then you will find new chocobos that have bred in a certain breeding area. And so it seems like they're kind of, if there's anything where they might not be going all out for a way to satisfy fans, seems like the chocobo breeding is not going to be maybe as detailed as fans would want. But yeah, super, super excited. I think they nailed it. Except one thing, and this shouldn't bug me, and the monologue will end soon, but they changed the Sephiroth voice actor. Apparently.
What, from the previous two?
Yeah. Previous two. And it's one of those things that shouldn't bug me. Whatever. Actors, can't live with them. But
no, it's the same game. Like that's switching
weird.
The voice actor mid-game.
Yeah,
that's weird.
It does.
It's a weird choice.
I know. It really bugs me. And they're like,
is it noticeable?
Yes. So he's in the trailer. You get to hear the new voice. And the weird thing is they cast somebody else. They cast somebody who has played Superman famously, and like 2 other Sephiroth voice actors have also been cast as Superman. It seems like in their mind, there's like, well, Superman's voice actor is also
the Sephiroth to Superman pipeline, yeah.
Which is weird because it's like all evil, all good, but whatever. I guess it's a powerful voice, but like,
it's like they're both kind of hot, right? It's like, why are we splitting hairs?
Is Superman hot?
He can be.
Okay.
Depends which Superman we're talking about.
Yeah. Okay.
Ben, please stop asking me. If
Sorry,
Superman's hot.
please.
Thank you.
But no, like you're right, Kelsey. Like it does bug me. Like some of the voice acting in this series, I'm not a big fan of. I think Sid sounds like a butt, and I don't want to hear that voice anymore because that's my favorite character in the game, and I think he sounds terrible. But Sephiroth, like, it has become so iconic. His voice of just like, oh, Cloud. Like he really nailed that, and I got really used to it. And now to have the rug pulled at the last second, I don't know. It feels weird.
They offer an explanation for that, scheduling or something.
They said something like that, where it's like, that's voice acting. It's probably just contract debates, and the guy wanted too much money. I'm sure it's some crap like that, which just is a bummer. So
I love the idea of someday there being like, voice actor table at a convention, and he's like, I'm the voice of Sephiroth in the third part.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd rather they got Tom Kenny from Spyro fame at this point. But anyways, there's Final Fantasy VII. That's obviously my game of the show on this end. But Kyle, what do you got, man? There's one that might be a little close to it.
Yeah, let's talk about Ocarina of Time.
Let's do it, baby.
Let's do it. I know so much about it, and I have so much I can think about with it. Go
frame by frame.
Exactly. Yeah, it's it really is one of those, like, which I don't really mind that much. I see people get upset about, but it's like I'm glad to know it exists.
Yeah.
Right. And like I do. This is like a weird point of comparison, but unlike the Ninja Turtles game, Last Ronin, which was like a teaser, but didn't give you any indication of what the turtles will look like, which I was like really bummed by. I was like, that's like the one, you don't have to show me gameplay, you can announce platinum, but just give me like just an artist's rendering of like what can I expect here, which I didn't get from that.
I really don't like it when they just go, hey, here's only a CG thing, no gameplay, no indication of what the game will actually be, art style. Like, if marketing material focuses on one specific thing as a first reveal, I'm always like, ugh.
Yeah. Like here, I mean, I'm assuming that's all in game. Like, I don't think that's pre-rendered.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, like you could see some pixels on his hand when they zoomed in on it, right? But it's like it's the most realistic Zelda has ever looked, ever. Right? I mean, like even Twilight Princess has sort of an edge to it. And like my first reaction is like, I don't know if I like the stylized sort of cartoon nature of Zelda. But then I did see someone, I don't remember who it was, but someone pointed out that like they were trying to make Ocarina of Time look as realistic as possible.
That's
like, I mean, it looks kind of absurd, like with our 2026 lens, but it's like, that's what they wanted for it. They wanted it to look real, ostensibly, you know?
And instead it looks unreal. Engine.
Yeah, it does look
that
very
is
unreal.
totally fair. I don't know if you saw like those comparison shots though of like here's that shot of Link on the bed in 64 and 3DS and the new one. And look, I'll have an open mind. We've seen so little of the game. I want to see environments. I want to see so much. You know, it's all so early. But I'd have that moment of like, God, that 3DS game looks good. You know, like that. It's got I think the right tone for this thing. But it's just funny how like the visuals of everything in this reveal trailer for the big remake. It's like it didn't get me that excited, but if I would have closed my eyes, I would have been just as excited because like just the hints of music that they had in the trailer and like the big title reveal at the end, like that musical swell is all like nailing it so well, which is tough not to do with Zelda, I guess, at this point.
So what I love about Zelda is it keeps like reinventing itself as well. Like I only got into Zelda like in my late teens. Didn't realize it was a franchise. Like I started playing it like 10 years old on the DS. Didn't realize it was a franchise until I was like 16, 17. I was like, oh, there's a whole 20 prior years of games in this series.
Wait, so for the DS one was your first? That was your starting line? Was it Phantom Hourglass?
Not Ocarina. Phantom Hourglass was my first.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, Phantom Hourglass. Okay. Yeah, that was my
that's
first.
a wild one to start with. I like Phantom Hourglass. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that game.
People hate that game a lot. Yeah. And I'm like, it was fun.
Well,
so you can't draw a line. I'll figure it out. I don't know.
But yeah, then Spirit Tracks came out and I was like, there's a sequel? Not knowing again that was like 15 years.
That's so funny.
So I came to Ocarina really late and didn't deal with the whole like, oh, look at this controversy surrounding Wind Waker's graphics. Look at the controversy surrounding Twilight Princess's graphics and the shift. And then like, now we're remastering Ocarina of Time for the 3DS and like, oh, Breath of the Wild and Skyward Sword. Like I came to it at that point, like Skyward Sword was my first brand new one. So I love that there is so much variety within the Zelda franchise. And Ocarina has always been a darker game, hasn't it? So it makes sense, I think, for it to tone down the, I guess, kind of more kiddie nature of the graphics. Yeah, like the brighter colors and stuff. And like, I don't care if it looks like that animated short that the Kena Bridge of Spirits team did for Majora's Mask. Like that is kind of where my brain is going with what I've seen so far. So I just think it's fun and it's exciting and it's cool that it's going to be in the hands of a new audience, a modern audience with hopefully modern controls and systems and, you know, not the jank of 98 or 97 whenever it came out.
98,
But I was wondering if that was like truly the beginning of the game, and I like went back and watched the Ocarina intro again, which that's how it starts. You know, it's like a voiceover explaining about the Kokiri in far fewer words, but like there's the Kokiri and one of them doesn't have a fairy, and then it kind of zooms in on Link, which when I was young, I just found that so interesting and like just sort of like rapturous of just like dark in this sort of sad, lonely way of like, you're this one kid who is unlike everyone here. Right. And you're just literally waking up like in the middle and it's dark, like it's literally dark. And I don't know, it just really worked with me. And I don't know, something about the voiceover makes me wonder if the tone will be lighter than sort of how I felt, you know, which I was applying my own sort of like seriousness to the sort of text on screen. But I am excited for it. Like I don't think I think we've talked about it before, Ben, but like in the way that you are so excited for 7 Remake. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to be that way about Ocarina, despite comparatively it being my favorite game of all time and will forever be my favorite game of all time. Like, because it's just so important. It's like the reason I'm talking to you on a podcast right now is because I fell so in love with Ocarina of Time when I was young. But I still don't see them like sort of toying with its legacy in real time with the remake of Ocarina of Time, as much as they're just going to try to sort of like represent it with new visuals and like updated controls. But I don't know. I would hope that they do something interesting with it. And I hope they're not scared to sort of poke and prod at it. I'm not that sacred about the idea of a remake because like I still have like versions of the original that I still go back to, you know, like I want the remake to kind of, you know, try different things, you know?
Sure. What about the theory that they're trying to make it look realistic as they can maybe get at this point because of the movie coming out? I don't want people to be off-put, but like they're clearly trying to synergize what they're working with here, and they want people to leave a movie theater and be like, I want to play as a human-looking Link. Here we go.
These Nintendo movies have taken so much from us already. It's just getting crazy.
At least 4 hours.
And
of
what
my
is
life.
it all for?
I do think those silos are pretty separate, man. Like, I don't think
Star Fox and Star Fox. You don't think that they're like, hey, this is great. We'll have Star Fox 64.
Star Fox in the movie, who looks completely different than he looked in the game.
He looks
like,
different, but
I think that is lined up though.
It's animated and animated though as well, isn't it? And like the Zelda movie, all things are pointing towards it being a Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom-esque zone movie. And this is similar, I reckon will be similar tonally to those stories, and they'll bring it into a more, I do think they will go darker with it, with still the adventurous like brightness that comes with being Kid Link and stuff. But I don't think it's necessarily going to be we're going to try and match, because that wouldn't make sense with the source materials that they're going from.
In theory, Nintendo's been working on this for years now. Like, and like the movie just finished shooting like 2 or 3 months ago or something.
Yeah, but
like
they're
that.
still planning for a long time. You know, it's like on the Star Fox front, you think about like, how do they impact each other? And I bet it was a situation of like, all right, we know Mario Galaxy is going to be the next movie. I'm trying to think of how the timeline would work out. But then, okay, Galaxy, space, maybe Star Fox, let's do that. And then let's have a game on store shelves for people. Let's have Star Fox there available. And so let's ramp up for that remake. Like, I don't think they're completely separate silos. Like, I think it's clearly the executive team being like, this is
timing.
Great. Yeah.
Timing makes 100%. It's just more like tonally and hitting the same market. I don't think it's necessarily quite the intention to line those up, but it makes sense to have, like with the Mario movie, Star Fox is in the movie, there's a game coming out in 6 weeks that's a Star Fox game. So would not surprise me if we get a Nintendo Direct that is entirely Zelda focused, where they show off Ocarina of Time, the changes that have been made, the new features, potentially some new content, full art style reveal, you know, gameplay reveal, and then they go, and also here's the Zelda trailer.
Yep.
In like
maybe
or something, you know, why not just throw it in with everything else?
I think that makes sense.
I just don't think it's so. I could see the team making the game and like Nintendo's sort of game sort of decisions. Like they're going to make better decisions for the game first. Like if they're like, that doesn't really line up with the movie, Nintendo's gonna be like, yeah, that's fine. Like we were making these things to be like fixtures of our economy, you know, like we want to create a Zelda game that people will be able to play for the next 2 decades. This is not promotion for the movie, you know, like
corporate fan.
Maybe I'm giving them too much optimism. Yeah.
I don't think it's like necessarily it's promoting the movie, but I think it's about having like the IP in the ether. And it kind of feels like it's part of like a larger, like, again, I don't think that necessarily means like the game is marred by capitalism, because that's every game. Like that you're selling the games. Like, you know. But I do think that like I'm on I hate to say this, but I'm Team Ben on this one. I do think they are kind of
cool. They hate to say it.
Because I feel like, I don't know, whenever we agree, I feel like we end up on the wrong side of history together, you and I. It's just like,
Check the tape. Never once.
Something about us being too close together in takes, it's like the universe kind of crumbles a little bit.
No, I think it's smart marketing synergy. I think
there we go.
More.
Yeah, that's a good word for it.
It's keeping, like you say, having both elements in the public eye at the same time or similar times is just smart. And we know that Nintendo releases a Zelda game every few years or so, usually like every 4 or 5 years we'll get something, and it's been a while, so it makes sense for them to do an Ocarina remake releasing for Christmas, for the holiday periods, pre-Thanksgiving, whatever. Just go straight in, release it on GTA Day, you know, who knows?
I honestly, I mean, my friend Ronnie was texting me about it. He's like, you know, the original released on November 21st, which would be like a couple days after GTA 6's release. But if there's a company that's going to be like, F it, we don't care about GTA 6 and its release date, it's going to be Nintendo. And if they want to hit that Ocarina anniversary, I could see it. You guys.
Yeah. Just do a Nintendo, because everybody else is cleared out of the way.
Yeah.
Just do a Nintendo Direct 6 weeks before, drop it right next to GTA around the anniversary, drop a trailer at the same time. So the trailer can be in theaters all through the holiday period, release the movie early next year, like
done and done.
It makes sense. It's the smart and logical thing to do from a marketing perspective. Keep them both in the space at the same time.
Yeah.
And people will still buy it, even if they're like, well, I'm going to play through GTA first, but they'll still pick up Ocarina of Time. And we all know by now that those games don't go on sale anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yep, for sure.
And Ocarina is one of my least favorite Zelda games. Sorry, Kyle. It's one of my least favorite Zelda games.
Well, someone who started with Phantom Hourglass. I mean, come on.
Oh, whoa.
Wow. How long have you been holding on that one, Kyle? Yeah. But he didn't like closing the DS. I get it.
That was the only part I did like. No, I actually quite liked that.
We were done playing.
No, I played it so late. And I'd had so many other Zelda experiences before it, and I didn't have that this is one of the greatest games of all time ideas going into it. So I had no idea, really. I just formed an opinion based on what I played in 2016 or whenever it was, So coming to it that late, it doesn't, I respect it for what it is.
Sure.
I think it's an exceptional game, like a cornerstone of the foundation of the industry kind of thing. It just doesn't hit me the way I want it to, and I love doing Ocarina of Time randomizers.
Yeah, that's
just
cool.
to be clear.
You're cool. You're cool.
But I am so excited for this remake because I am hoping that it will fix the issues that I had with it, of it feeling dated to play, and being able to appreciate it from a design perspective and see what they were doing in the original, but not enjoying the doing, and then being able to play a modern version. I know it sounds kind of gross, being
That's
give me
so
the fresh
valid,
graphics, give me the fresh controls,
Yeah.
But I'm really excited to not have those pain points, hopefully.
Kyle, right now,
Ben.
put the money on the table and back away from it. Will they have shrines scattered around the world?
No.
So just all temples, no little puzzles. There are no shrines whatsoever. Okay.
There'll be little puzzles. They'll be blow up the rock.
But not shrines.
Not shrines in the Breath of the Wild sense.
Okay, that's fine.
To be clear, I love those. I would be open to them. But I just think it's going to be a very faithful remake. I just really do.
Yeah. I mean,
it would be a mistake to do something like that, honestly. When the original design is so good and the pacing is so good, they don't need to add anything like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's always the big debate of how empty will Hyrule Field be with that fidelity, But I mean, again, all we know is what they've shown.
It's not that empty on the N64 game. It's small.
I understand that, but with this level of fidelity,
there are things to discover on that field for sure.
I know, but if they kept the same amount of things to discover on that field with this fidelity, you'd say, "What is this? Metroid Prime 4's Wasteland?" It'd be barely anything out there.
It's
true.
so much smaller than that. It's really small.
Metroid Prime was like, "What did I do? I am not even involved in this conversation."
And I'm
going to call it now that they're going to add more Skulltulas, and they are going to be the Koroks that will be around the world. Because, you roll into a tree to see if a Skulltula will fall out kind of thing. I can see them doing little set piece bits, kind of Breath of the Wild-ish, where they fill out the field, and the more expansive zones, I guess just the field really, with a couple of little bits and pieces, move the Skulltulas around because they have the ability to do that and make it a more interesting experience for those now.
Yep, I think that's right.
It doesn't need more.
I mean, and again, we talk about how faithful will it be, going back and forth. The fact that their first reveal trailer was about as faithful as you can possibly get, that's probably them trying to plant the flag of don't worry, fans. And so, that says something. Kyle, what do you think real quick about the studio reveal for Starfox? After much speculation, it's VII Studios over in New York who made Mario Kart Live Home Tour, if you remember that. And they made our favorite PlayStation shooter from last year, Midnight Murder Party, that nobody talks about on planet Earth. But interesting choice, right? Knockout Club City? Knockout City, yeah.
Knockout Club City, yeah.
That's
cool. It's not who I expected, right?
Yeah.
It's I had my various guesses, but it wasn't them. Did it? I want to. Can I share quickly playing the demo?
Yeah.
I am embarrassed at how energized I got by that demo. Like it was like I was like all right, come on. Yeah, I've played this a dozen times. I played it on 3DS and I was like totally enthralled. I was like, oh my gosh, I love this game so much. And the music is so good.
Yeah.
And like the boss fight at the end, it had like they added like choral singing and stuff like that.
Ooh, really?
And it just was like moving me in a way that I was like embarrassed. And like it's so funny because
Don't look at
and
me!
this is something I never acknowledged when I was young was like the boss is like, you can't get me, Starfox. And I'm like, oh yeah? What if I shoot you like 6 times? And he's like, oh my God, you're like the greatest person in the world. How could I ever do this? And I was like, and I just like realized like how much that game just builds you up. You know, like they didn't rewrite any of the dialogue. I never really embraced that when I was young. It's like, yeah, they are making me feel like the greatest pilot by basically not doing anything. I'm like not in control here. But like it was truly, I was like, the music and like just that like sort of reliving that experience of being the best pilot in the Lilat system. I was like, damn it, I am on board. I did not think I would be this energized by Star Fox 64 remake. But
I mean, yeah.
I'm now excited for it after playing through that level. It's
you
cool.
were excited before. You just went from like a 7 to a 9, you know?
Yes. Yeah, that's actually a great way to describe it. Yeah, like from a 7 to a 9. Yeah, that soundtrack is killer.
What about this? Speaking of killer, McGreevy wrote in from the community, and it's so specific I had to read it. When you talk about them not changing the dialogue, he said, in the original Star Fox 64, when the crew enters the airspace over Canaria City and sees only rubble and the few buildings that remain half standing, Falco flatly says, "This is horrible." In the remake, he says, Andros sure has trashed the place in an upbeat tone.
Oh yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that.
Isn't that a weird choice?
I love a dark N64 game. It turns out I like that they're like, oh, this is apocalyptic.
Right,
you know?
right.
Now Falco's like, so much to clean up in here.
Yeah, come on, get the janitor in aisle 4 for the city. It's like, what? All right. Should we stick in the Nintendo world? I mean, Kelsey, I saw you in the chat during our reaction stream for Xenoblade Genesis, but there were so many comments that were like, we can't wait to hear Kelsey talk about Xenoblade, and obviously Ellie as well. If they would have known you would have been here, Ellie, they would have been screaming.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you all make of the new big Xenoblade game reveal?
So here's the thing. I trust Xenoblade inherently with my life. Like I trust that even if I am not excited necessarily that or like it immediately draws me in, that it is going to be a really good story, because I've just never been let down by this franchise. And it's always surprised me in a good way. I'm not crazy about it being this sort of like school setting and this a little bit more high fantasy looking thing. That's not really the thing that I go to Xenoblade for. So it's weird. I do have some kind of mixed emotions about it for that reason, because I'm like, well, I'm really not sold on this premise or setting. But it sounds like this is going to be, still a Xenoblade, but not necessarily like a prequel, or not necessarily even like set in the same thing as this is tough to talk about without spoiling anything. Right. Yeah. I think it's like still related in some way to the events that occur in the other Xenoblade games.
Yes, they said that.
Something.
Yes, they said it is a new chapter in Xenoblade. So it's taking place in theory after Xenoblade 3's events, but still the same universe technically, as wacky as
Oh, interesting. Wow. They specifically said it's after?
They said it's a new chapter, like following the end of the trilogy was the way that it was phrased.
So maybe
it was
not
like there is
universe.
A trilogy and there is Genesis. But they said that 2 wasn't related in any way, and then they've like rolled with the series. So I felt very similarly, Kelsey. I was like, I
also
trust
2 was related. It just
Yep.
Within the game.
Play the games.
Yeah, sure.
But like I'm the same way. I love their worlds. I love their characters. I love their stories. I know I am going to be in for emotional devastation playing these games. I know I'm going to have an amazing soundtrack. I know I'm going to have a world that feels incredible to explore and experience. I know there's going to be something weird and funky with the combat that is not quite what we've experienced before in a JRPG. I'm also not super like fussed about the school stuff, because I love that the others are more, there is this big cataclysmic event happening and you have to go off and seek vengeance, or find people that you've lost, or, you know, that is usually the hook for these games. So I'm curious to see what they do. But I don't know about you, Kelsey, but the thing that got me was like the vengeance of a fallen god. I was like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah.
I know that it's going to do something with that. And I'm sad that it's not ore. But I'm excited for something different.
I'm just excited they're still doing Xenoblade, because I actually do feel like Xenoblade, that trilogy, especially after the DLC for 3, I didn't really want a 4, because I really did feel like it wrapped up in a, you know, in such a good way that, like, you know, when like a good show has like one more season than it really needs to have. I'm glad they're not doing that.
Right.
But I think just tonally, I was expecting something to be a little bit closer to what the other ones have been.
Well,
I also will forever be wishing they went back to the art style of the first game. We have plenty of anime JRPGs. It looks wonderful. I no shade to it. It's just like losing one of the things that made it stand out a little bit is kind of a bummer.
I still feel like it was a mistake for the team to make X a Chronicles game. And I think that this is a reattempt at that, is kind of how it feels to me. Like, if they'd have just called it like Xenoblade X instead of Chronicles X, that confuses people. It's not.
Yeah.
There's theories as to how it's related, but there is in no way any kind of confirmation or actual solid anything to connect it to the trilogy.
There's like some references where you're like, I guess that's sort of slots in
potentially,
there.
Maybe, like it's tenuous, but I'm excited to see what they're going to do with it. And like, I love these games so much.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for Monolith to keep going and keep making more amazing games.
I wonder, you know, since it seems like the hook, and it seems like even from the beginning of Xenoblade as a series, the environment is always a real star of the show. And for this one, it seems to be the premise is you're kind of on the inside of a sphere. It's a little bit like the Halo ring, but it seems like a 360 sphere from the shots that they have. And so I wonder if it's a thing of like, yeah, it's kind of more old fantasy setting in this school, but at the end of the game, you're going to break out of the sphere and you're like, oh my God, we're in a wild sci-fi universe. And there is like, they talk a lot about anima, which thank God for Reddit for being like, oh, of course, going back to Xenosaga with anima. I was like, oh, I forgot about anima as a thing in Xenosaga. I had to go back and read the Wikipedia.
I had to look that one up too.
Yeah.
Look, there's a lot of lore you got to keep track of.
Yeah, but super exciting. And I guess this is, in theory, confirmation that Monolith isn't the studio working on the Zelda remake, which, you know, some fun theories have been bubbling about. But yeah, so this is coming out, Xenoblade Genesis 2027. Which is going to be a huge year for JRPGs in general, because Xbox Showcase, they also revealed Persona 6, finally, with a very moody, dark, weird trailer that's basically just barely more than like a logo splash screen. But I don't know, Kelsey, did you have hot thoughts on Persona 6 reveal?
I love the... for this one, I do love the tone quite a bit at first glance. But I mean, yeah, there's not much to say yet. I'm happy that it's happening. I'm excited that it does look like it is taking a slightly darker shift back, which is, I mean, 3 is my favorite Persona. So I am looking forward to it going back to being a little creepier, a little bit darker, if the trailer is to be believed. But yeah, I mean, there's not much to say yet. It's a green logo, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that is the big thing is green is the color this time around, which they had kind of teased before and stuff, compared to 5 being red, 4 being yellow. Cool. What else are people excited for?
I think my favorite thing I played at Summer Game Fest was Blood Dungeon, which is one that consistently everyone I've spoken to has been like, yes,
really?
Excellent game.
What is this?
That's on my list too. Yeah, please walk us through what it is.
It's the Nidhogg devs, and it's basically a cross between Vampire Survivors and Spelunky.
What?
It's very weird in like a cutesy kind of way. You are
like a flash game kind of.
Yeah, you're a jittery little
pixel
guy. And you gain power-ups by defeating enemies, and you have to try and survive waves and defeat bosses and stuff. It's levels that are always the same layout, like same map, but the POIs are in different places, and you'll find like keys in different locations, and chests are in different spots. And it was super, super fun. Like, it was the kind of thing where I signed up for an appointment, not knowing what the game was, learned what the game was pre-appointment, and was like, another Survivors game kind of thing. And I was like, I'll just do one more run. Like at the booth on a Steam Deck in the corner, like hunched over, like playing it for like 45 minutes.
That was literally me. I was sitting on the floor with the Steam Deck because Janet was in the big chair. I actually think the Steam Deck was the better way to play it because, Janet, it was real front row of the movie theater vibes, the way you were craning.
Yeah, that whole area,
like
for some reason, they're like, what if you were like sitting on a stool right next to like a 60-inch TV?
Yeah.
And it's like, sure, why not? No, I was kind of in the same vein as you were, Ellie, where it's like I didn't know what this was, heard what it was, and I was a little bit more intrigued in that. I think the pitch I heard was like it's a platforming Vampire Survivors, and I love platformers, and I'm really good at platformers, and I was really good at this game, and and I liked it before I was good at it. Like I died pretty early in my first run, and thought, oh, this is like pretty fun to do. I'm a simple man. It's fun to just jump around, and and I think what's nice about this is it's not like you have to be like super skilled at like eyeing, distance or anything like that, because you can crawl on everything.
Yeah, like stick to the walls and the ceilings and stuff. So you can kind of just like traverse any surface, but there's so many enemies that you have to be careful where you're traversing.
And the number one feature, I feel like we buried the lead. It has the Super Mario World style net gate thing that you can.
Oh, okay, flippy
That's
thing.
one of the best things that Mario put out there. I don't know if other people have done it. If other people have done it, I don't care when they do it. That's the feel that's there. Now, they don't let you like punch through to the other side. I don't know if that's for legal reasons. I understand that you might not be able to punch through the other side, but that is like such a fun thing to do in a video game. Again, normally something I kind of only do in Mario games. So I really love that aspect of it as well. But yeah, it's fun. It's frenetic. Like if you are open to Survivor style games and you like to jump, stop, run now. It was so fun. I beat the area that they gave us, like on my second run. So I felt very full of myself, and then I just sunsetted off for the day. It was the last appointment I had. I was wildly tired, and it just is. I just love, and this is the thing I like about the genre of platformers. I love a game that you can assess within 7 seconds of playing it, and it is one of those. It's like you'll be into it or you won't. But it is fun to see the extra, like any rogue type game, the extra synergies appear where it's like, oh, I'm kind of speccing into, this aspect of money. Oh, now I make money when I'm, doing this. So then you kind of like start to lean, and it's always fun in a game like that to get to be part of, but also watch a build take shape and kind of feel like the invisible hand of the designer almost underneath you. Like, I think that when these games are their best, you have that feeling of like, are they giving me this? Because somewhere under the hood, they've coded if I have these things, they're going to present me with this third thing to just make it, the perfect kind of synergy. But yeah, and I know me and Kelsey were talking about this one, saying that like this will be our connective thread to Jeffem. So excited for us to squat up there.
Everybody needs a bridge. Yeah, so Blood Dungeon, there's a demo out on Steam right now if you want to check out Blood Dungeon, which, I forgot. So it's Messhoff is the name of the developer. Yeah, Nidhogg 1 and 2. And then I forgot they made Wheel World not that long ago.
And they developed this like casually on the side.
Yeah. Whatever.
It's sort of like
biggie.
when they had some extra time, they just sort of threw this game together, and it's fantastic, which
awesome.
is like just insane to think about, like from a development standpoint.
Yeah. You know what I think is insane to think about, Janet Garcia?
Patreon.com.
No, Iowa.
Windmills?
No,
yes.
very
Okay.
close.
No, not the windmills. The kaleidoscopes.
Kaleidoscopes. They want everybody
You'll edit
to
in post. Kaleidoscopes.
You got it. Come discover Pocahontas County, Iowa, everybody. Pocahontas County is home to 11 large kaleidoscopes throughout its communities and county parks as part of the state's tourism initiative to take some time discovering what Iowa has to offer. Our kaleidoscopes offer a way to enjoy an affordable and fun vacation with your family, friends, or even independently if you're wild. Each kaleidoscope contains a unique design, has its own color scheme to match the history of the town or county park. While you're in the area, be sure to check out one of the 3 public pools, including the brand new Lorenz Aquatic Center located near the Lorenz Kaleidoscope in Sportsman's Park, or catch one of the free movies during Tuesday morning and Thursday afternoons at the Rialto Theater in downtown Pocahontas. There are several public parks to enjoy, places to eat and shop, entertainment to enjoy throughout the county. Add Pocahontas County, Iowa to your travel list this year. visit discoverpoco.com to start planning your itinerary. That's discoverpoco.com. Link in the description. Yes, Ellie, we're promoting Iowa. That is our ad read on this episode. Janet just dropped out, hairnet crapped out. So let's just give a clap in her honor. I guess that was her. She'll jump back.
A round of applause for
Round
her.
of applause for the internet, apparently, in this situation, but she'll jump back in if she can. What are the biggies that we haven't hit yet that are like no does? Like there's one in my mind, Kyle. I don't know if you're leaning the same way I am, dude.
I mean, I want to shout out Veronica. Resident Evil Veronica.
And how fun that we just get to call it Veronica now. This is the Capcom route. We lost the code. This is, I mean, you say, it was like mumbling out of the side of your mouth. I mean, I feel like it's been years of like debate about, are they going to do a remake of 1? Are they going to do a remake of 0? And everybody who's cool and hip wants Code Veronica, and they freaking did it. They announced it.
Yeah. This is absolutely like the one most deserving of a remake for sure. Like
Yes.
I played it for the first time in 2019. And it's cool. Like it is proper Resident Evil 3. Like the backstory of all that is like it was supposed to be 3, they changed it, and then 3 Nemesis was meant to be a spin-off, and that got the number. So like this
This was supposed to be like I think it just started like they were trying to put Resident Evil 2 on the Saturn, and that wasn't even close to working. And they were like, well, what can you put on the Saturn? And then it turns out nothing, but we can put something on the Dreamcast. So,
So it's also like there's a lot of Resident Evil lore in it too. It's a lot more about like the founders of Umbrella and stuff like that. So like this is, you know, given me the choice, if I were in charge, I would have been like, remake this one. So I was very excited to see that confirmation.
The video that I've been asking. Yeah, I mean, it's exciting to see them remake like a flawed game. You know, I'm trying to think of like the history of like Capcom's remakes so much, and it's like, I guess 0 would be another chance of like, okay, can they punch it up and improve it? But it seems like Code Veronica people love. There's a lot of nostalgia, but people like you that go back to it.
Flawed is like I don't know if flawed's the right word, honestly.
Yeah?
It's like I think it's as good as any other, like, you know, a follow up to 2. I think it's good. You know, I don't, but I think it's just underplayed is what happened to it. You know,
Sure, I thought there was something where like you can get stuck in this game more than any other old Resident Evil. Like if you missed a certain piece of equipment or something, you're kind of hosed. So like,
yes,
just
you
that
can
alone.
totally. You can. When I played in 2019, I streamed it, and people were watching me, and they were very like, "Okay, make sure you don't do this."
That seems like a problem.
I bypassed that, thankfully. But
Yeah, and so it was.
What if they included that? What if they kept that in the remake just to be like?
Just put a jank in there.
I thought it was an awesome way for Keighley to kick off the entire show, though, because it was like, is this Resident Evil 9 DLC? And then like, oh no, it's just full-on Veronica. And like, it's all first person in the trailer, but the confusing thing is apparently at the show, I don't know if you all can confirm this, they said that it's going to be a third-person game.
yes, actually, let me pull up my notes, because I did go to like a sit here and we'll talk about the you know, well, we had, I think, is it the producer Hiroyuki Kobayashi, I think was, yeah. So yes, it is a third-person game with no first-person mode.
Interesting.
Yeah, and he was really like, most of the questions I feel like steered back towards like, hey, you know how we did the remakes of 2 and 4? It's gonna be like that in terms of like that. Those are the kinds of changes we made in those games, the kinds of considerations we had. Like, expect kind of a similar, you know, it won't be literally 1-to-1, but there's not going to be any huge surprises,
right?
Kind of thing.
Apparently, it's the same teams that did the remakes for 2 and 4.
Yeah,
which is super exciting. It's such a cool choice. Yeah, what was the release? Did it say 2027 for this thing?
I believe so.
No window, just 2027.
Okay. Awesome. God, it's just so fun. If we could just call it Veronica. What a good day.
Yeah, and of
Yeah.
course, that was one of the questions asked, like, why drop the code?
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, there's never really a satisfying answer to this, but it was basically like, well, when we thought about what part of the title is important, the important part is the Veronica part. And it's like, well, yeah, I guess.
I mean, I think it makes
You can't
sense.
call it Resident Evil Code, I guess. If you needed to drop a word, that is the one to drop.
Yeah, that's not fair. Kyle, I was so preparing for you when I set it up for like the game you're really excited about. I thought you were going to take the bait and go for the new Star Trek game, which is one of those that like was that on the bubble.
It's my fourth. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that was one that was like, I missed it completely. It was in the PC gaming show or something. I was like, wait, what is this? Bloober Team are gonna come off the heels of the Silent Hill 2 remake and Chronos and a Star Trek horror game? Is this what you want, Kyle, as someone who's played Bloober and has been like diving in deeper to Star Trek than any mortal man should?
I think it's a good amount, a normal amount.
No, it's not
but
normal.
no. To just touch on it briefly, it was a moment of like I was watching the trailer and it's like it's clear it's Star Trek. They have the logo and the badge and stuff, and I was like, I like Bloober. I'm liking them more and more. I don't, and Star Trek certainly has horror episodes, but it's like not. I don't really want a horror Star Trek game.
Yeah.
But then the moment the protagonist was made apparent, which is this character named Ro Laren, who is like important to the later seasons of Next Generation. Completely on board. I am very excited for this specifically because of the Ro Laren character. Like she's like, because for a couple reasons, like she's like, she represents like Next Generation, which is like the sort of era of Star Trek I like. I don't really like modern Star Trek. So like, yeah, let's go back a little bit. And then also she's just like a great character who is kind of underserved ultimately. And like, they were even building Deep Space Nine around her because she was so liked. But then, for whatever reason, Hollywood reasons, they just decided to make an original character that was kind of a lot like her, if that makes sense. Sure, yeah. Like, there's a character in Deep Space Nine who was supposed to be Ro Laren and then became Kira just because of, who knows why. Scheduling conflicts, a la Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII.
I get it now.
But yeah, so, like, I like Bloober. I like horror games from Bloober. And I've like you said, I have fallen back into Star Trek in a big way. And the fact that they're having Ro Laren be the protagonist is a big deal and is very exciting. Like when I watched the trailer and then I messaged Matt Miller at Game Informer and I was like, hey, you're going to play as Ro Laren. And he was also like, whoa, that's awesome.
Hey, was she in Picard? Are they?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like a kind of she showed up for like one episode and it was a big deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is she part Klingon? What's going on with her?
She is Bajoran, who, I mean, you don't want me to get into all this. Guys don't care about this.
This is a safe space for dorks. You kidding me? Have you heard this episode?
Everyone in Next Generation is basically perfect employees. They love Starfleet and they do everything right. Okay. And then at the end, this character, Ro Laren, shows up and she's like, hey, Starfleet is bullshit. And this sucks. And like, you guys are like perpetuating wars. And like, she's the only person who's like speaking up and saying like what you're thinking as someone who's been watching Star Trek for 6 seasons. And Picard has to be like, no, it's cool.
Everyone stay calm. No mutinies. Yeah,
exactly. And then she's a troublemaker on a ship full of people who are like not troublemakers.
Okay.
And it's like, and she's a fun foil to Picard, and she's a great performer, and she's a beautiful woman, and it was just like awesome. She's just cool, and I'm excited to play as her in a horror game.
That's cool. Yeah. Okay, what other biggies that we should definitely not miss from the experts that were at the show?
I want to shout out a couple of indies real quick that I enjoyed. Mr. Records was a lovely little thing from the Day of the Devs presentation. This is a game that plays a lot like a Rhyme Rider Carry Con or a Vib Ribbon, if you want my niche polls, but it's a rhythm game where you are doing button presses in time to the music to do different actions, whether that's, punching an enemy or jumping over a puddle or sliding. And it was very fun. The music is incredible. Like it's all made by the developers who are very clearly musicians and can capture a lot of interesting sounds. A lot of it's done like a cappella, maybe not like entirely. I guess maybe a cappella is the wrong word because there's instruments in, I think, all of them, but it's like one person doing every single piece and stitching it together. You've probably watched a YouTube video like that.
Yeah.
Then in between the songs that you play through is a cute little just like record store management sim where you're matching people up with what they're looking for. They're like, I think I want this kind of sound, or like I'm trying to impress this girl and I know that she likes this kind of sound and the color green, and you go find like the green album with the
Weezer
with that sound.
Yeah, as you play through the levels, you learn the music and then you get the record to sell. So you have to like progress through and then you understand how to run your store better. because you're getting more music and more
That's
intimate
cool.
with the music.
Awesome. Mr. Wrecker is the name of that one. Ellie, there was one on the tip of your tongue too?
I really liked Slap Out of It.
Slap out
Yes.
The slapping
Yeah,
game.
that's cute.
Everyone's calling it the slapping game, and because I'm so tired, I keep forgetting the name of it. But it's just a very silly, very goofy. Reminded me of like Banjo-Kazooie humor. You just
Totally.
It's not like a slap, like a right to left kind of thing. It's like a punch, like an open-handed palm punch things. Puzzle solving game. Built around specific levels where you have to move between rooms and zones, up and down an elevator, different floors, and lots of spatial and like proximity based puzzle elements. Very silly, very goofy. Really
very
excited to see that
Muppety.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool. Slap.
And also excited for Bad Magpie as well, because birds doing crimes should be a bigger genre, honestly.
Yes.
So
That
I
is weird.
wish I had gotten to play that one, but it looks fantastic.
Yeah, those are in the Xbox showcase, and it's like, oh, this is
Yes.
as Untitled Goose Game, I think, as you can legally get to Untitled Goose Game
Yeah.
for Bad Magpie. But yeah, that seemed super cool too. God, a weird announcement. I'm curious if it stood out for all during Summer Game Fest, but Crossfire. I am fascinated by this game's development for several different reasons. Multiple times when we talk about our prediction episodes at the top of the year, I'm like, I think this is the year where we're going to see what That's No Moon is working on, which is developers who used to be at Naughty Dog, and then they're at Infinity Ward working on like the Modern Warfare reboot and whatnot. And they left and formed a studio called That's No Moon back in 2021. And so I've just been waiting for like, when are they finally going to reveal what they're doing? And there was like a leaked early screenshot of what they were working on. And it was like a third-person tactical combat looking thing. And so I thought for sure, like, oh, this is going to be SOCOM, that Sony's tapped them to make the new SOCOM. And then they revealed it, and I went to attended a digital preview for like an hour just to learn more about it. And it was fascinating because it was literally 30 minutes of them explaining the game and really setting up what they're going for with this kind of near future, single player, story focused, third person shooter. And then they're like, by the way, it's Crossfire, which is really confusing because it's like
they didn't lead with that.
They did the complete opposite. They wanted to make sure you knew exactly what this was before being like, it's an IP that you might have heard of, which is a big shooter in China in particular. And it's all multiplayer focused. And so the idea of that this ambitious, this expensive a single player story as a standalone thing is being made here in the States is really wild. And like what gets even more confusing is speaking of Remedy and Control, Remedy made like a story component. What would you call it? Just a campaign for Crossfire a couple of years ago.
It was basically like a Call of Duty-esque single player campaign, and they did like two, kind of. I played one of them.
Okay.
And that was plenty.
It did not seem like Remedy's high water mark. It seemed like kind of a tough, troubled production, and maybe not the greatest relationship over there. And so somebody asked in the Q&A about just like, how does this work? So you all were working on this while Remedy was working on their Crossfire campaign? And, there's never going to be a great answer, but they're like, well, we're excited. It's kind of like seeing multiple authors take on Batman. We're having different versions of the story for the Crossfire IP. And so it's like, yeah, whatever. I'm excited to have
Scheduling conflicts.
Right. I'm excited to have just like a big budget story focused shooter, and if the only way that can get across the finish line is if it's technically under this Crossfire banner, even though there's no multiplayer component, like I guess that's totally fine for this. And so the big hook, which is interesting, for what they're showing off here is adaptive cover, which doesn't seem like a huge thing to me, but they were leaning into it in such a big way of being like an interesting example of like, hey, we look at like combat and what it looks like these days. Here's just like a field of boulders. And a soldier has to take cover as they work their way through that field of boulders. And in video games, you just can't really do it. It's like it needs to be Gears of War, putting your back against cover or nothing, basically, right? And so the idea with their take on Crossfire is to have adaptive cover where it's going to be a lot of slowly crawling and the character will like know exactly how to stay behind any object that's next to him, which is one of those things of like, yeah, sure, we can talk about that for like 15 minutes in this behind closed door things. I don't know if a single human being seeing that trailer is going to get an ounce of a thrill about like the cover system, but maybe I'm just not as deep in the weeds on the whole shooter market and stuff. But they're focusing on that and then focusing just on the narrative angle for everything here. And it's like, it's not co-op, but there's 2 characters and Layla and Cross. And Layla, she's a bit of a progressive. And Cross, he kind of likes things the way they were. And so there's kind of a little army of 2 misfit characters things here happening. But I'm super excited that Studios revealed what they're working on, and I'm curious to see more from Crossfire. I'm glad to have it. I'm sure we'll be talking about it more in the future here at MinnMax as well. One more note.
I'll allow it.
Kelsey, do you know what happens when you have to eat food for lunch, but at the same time, food takes a really long time to make?
I think you just starve and die.
Yeah, exactly.
It keeps happening to me. It's really terrible.
I know, it is horrific. However, what if I told you there was a company called Factor? With Factor meals, everybody, you can have delicious food ready in 2 minutes, delivered right to your doorstep. You put it in the microwave, it's 2 minutes. It truly is great. They sent a couple of big boxes of Factor meals here, and I was so thrilled. And Sarah was like dropping off the camera after the big Japan trip. And I was like, Sarah, take 6 Factors out of the mail. And it was like Christmas. She go, shopping spree. How many Factors can she grab? So Sarah's getting to...
some of the Factors?
She's the first to break the seal, yeah. So if you see Sarah next time and she looks like really healthy and like satiated for like the first time in her life, it's all thanks to Factor meals.
And just talking about all the free time she has that she doesn't know what to do with.
Yeah, exactly. You go from what, 40 minutes for dinner for 2? Come on, it's a piece of cake. And the meals are so good. We're talking jalapeno lime, cheddar chicken, garlic cream pork chop, Romano shredded chicken was a couple things that I had here. They want you to know that Factor has meals built around your goals, whether it's weight loss, overall nutrition, more protein for strength and workout recovery. Check out Factor's Muscle Pro collection. You can tell we're all eating that. And it's ready in 2 minutes. They got so many different varieties of food. You can head to factormeals.com/MinnMax50off and use code MinnMax50off to get 50% off and free daily greens per box with new subscription details only while supplies last until September 27th, 2026. You can see the website for more details here. But factormeals.com, check out the link in the description to get a great discount. They truly are great. Keep them around. Okay, other things we should definitely hit here.
Quick shout out to Bub, which is an indie narrative game that is just really, really gorgeous looking. It is mostly hand drawn / hand cut out, all kind of like this beautiful hand assembled game going through what seems like is going to be a very sad and touching narrative. I got kind of like a little bit of like Duskbloods vibes from it, in the sort of like, this is going to be a pretty contained story about a person and their family and their world, done in a really interesting style. And it looks really good.
Yeah, hell yeah. There is so much that we didn't get to. This is why I think it's probably the best summer game reveal showcase sequence we've ever had. And we'll talk about more in the bonus pod and stuff like that. But I mean, Kingdom Hearts 4 got a new trailer and gameplay. Duskbloods, Ellie, Duskbloods got a new trailer.
I know.
Did that trailer do anything for you as a huge From Software fan? Is there still just so many question marks about what the thing is going to be?
So I'd already kind of sussed out what I think it's going to be. When it appeared on the screen, I was like, I think this is FromSoft. I think this is Duskbloods. And I was like, looks like it's running on Nintendo Switch.
Correct.
From what I saw, and then it showed like a couple of the characters and stuff. There's some things we've seen already, some things we haven't. Closed network test this summer. I'm scared I won't get in. If you're listening, FromSoft, Nintendo.
Help her out, please.
I think it's really smart of them to do that. I think it's super smart for them to just be like, hey, here's a little bit more. We're doing a summer network test. Sign up, see what it is, play it, tell people. Very, very smart way to let people disperse the news, and getting hands-on with multiplayer games is so important for something that is as unknown as this. So yeah, for sure. It's still no release date, but if they're doing a test in the summer here, maybe that's going to be a big fall winter game. We don't know. But other stuff, Rhythm Heaven Groove got a bunch of demos still. That game's going to be awesome. Can't wait to jump into that one. Wolf Among Us 2.
Wolf Among Us 2, huge,
Oh,
yeah. One Piece Grand Gourmet, which is Carosoft making just a super smart restaurant sim set in the One Piece universe, where it's like, yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
State of Decay 3 got a big showing, the Xbox thing. That's going to be huge. Final Fantasy Resonance, which is HD 2D, very exciting. And it's like, oh no, it turns out it's a remake of Brave Exvius, which is the mobile Final Fantasy that some people really liked
Took a lot of wind out of my sails, honestly.
Yeah,
but
Honestly, anytime I see a returning character, it takes the wind out of my sails. Like I've just, Cloud shows up and I'm like, never mind. I don't need to care about this.
I mean, Tactics had Cloud. I care about Tactics. I looked on Reddit though to be like, did people like Brave Exvius? I never played it. And there's a Reddit thread that was, to everyone who has played Brave Exvius, how good were the story and characters in this game? And the top comment just said, Ariana Grande was in it. So, I don't know what we're working with here exactly, but the people did say like the core story was good in that. But also 1666 Amsterdam, which I'm excited about. It's an old THQ project from the original creative director for Assassin's Creed that he's been trying to make forever. So the fact that that's happening is crazy. Ninja Theory announced Senua. The third Hellblade game is happening. Crazy Taxi is returning. Gears of War E-Day got a big demo, a whole bunch more. Metro 2039, Doom the Dark Ages Revelations. Monster Hunter Wilds Ascendance, big expansion there. Clutch, I thought looked cool from former Forza Horizon developers. That's a very...
Everyone that I know that has played that loved it.
Ooh, okay.
They were like, oh, it's kind of like Forza, and then they just go completely off the rails, and it's like, oh no, this is different. This is good. So
awesome.
I've not heard anybody say anything bad
Game
about
Informer.
it all weekend.
Yeah, Brian Shea Game Informer was talking about it like in a like maybe one of my favorite things I saw.
Wow, awesome. Star Wars Zero Company, the Star Wars XCOM, that got a demo. Saw Genesis, we mentioned. TMNT, The Last Ronin from Platinum Games. That seems like a biggie. Kelsey, Tales of Eternia is getting like a remaster, and I was like, that's weird. I never played that one. Then I was like, wait, no, that Tales of Destiny 2, I beat that game back on PS1. I just didn't know that it was called Tales of Eternia in other regions.
And I think we haven't had, because Europe got a remake of it on PSP.
Oh, okay.
But I don't think we've had any way to play it other than the PS1. And honestly, it was probably like a digital title on PS3 and Vita or something like that. But
yeah.
But yeah, I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, for sure. Kyle, did you see Viverum, which is very Ghibli style thing?
Which earns that Ghibli title in a way that like a lot of games don't, because like they'll just use Ghibli as a stand-in for like pretty, it's like our Ghibli inspired game. It's like Vivarium actually does look like, the Miyazaki style. So yeah, that looks cute.
Jenna Garcia returns to the show.
Hello, I'm tethered to
Just
my
in
phone.
time.
I'm very nervous about it, but I'm excited to be back because there's like maybe like two things I want to say, and I was like, I felt like the dude in Interstellar yelling to the bookcase in Backstage Pass, being like, "Oh, I really hope someone mentions this," and they're like, "Anyway," I'm like, "No."
That was my job.
Like 10, 15 minutes after the fact. Ben, I'm actually really into the adaptive cover and the Crossfire stuff.
You
like,
are?
I think it looks really, I think it looks, and I'm not a shooter person. I think I'll be brief because I know we're out of order now, but I think it looks really cool. I think it makes like the play area feel way more engaging. They like spent a lot of time emphasizing how much you walk into a level and you're like, obviously this is a shootout. And I think that's true for even games that I think have felt fresher in the space. Like I really have been enjoying 007. That is definitely a game that has elements of that, but I think makes it feel fresh. And just them pointing it out kind of made me realize how stagnant I think that formula has become and how interesting like the adaptive cover thing is for shaking that up. Okay. I do think they did not talk much about the story, but my biggest concern is the story. It just seems like having how you described it, Ben, it's like she's progressive, he's this way. It's like, it seems like this is going to be like a head ass, both sides-y ass story. Like, I don't know if that's true. Maybe they will do it in a way that's like really tactful and engaging and moving, but it did kind of feel like it would just be, wow, we have really different views, but we're not so different, you and I. And it's like, first of all, what are those different views? Because I'm kind of afraid of what this man is thinking. Yeah, that's the vibe I got from it.
It's interesting. They went out of their way to talk about like, hey, we want these to be grounded characters. It's a grounded shooter, all this stuff. This is the creative team that we had a big back and forth back in the day on the Game Informer cover story trip for Modern Warfare about whether or not Call of Duty was political. And this is our team that like I debated that with for quite a while. And so they kept emphasizing over and over again that like, look, Smilegate's funding this from China, but there's been no creative limitations. We can tell whatever story we want. We're not being censored in any way. We can tell the story we want to tell. It's one of those things of after like the third time they said that, I was like, well, now I'm not believing you anymore. It's such a weird point. Just keep reiterating like, I swear to God, we can say whatever we want. It's like, okay, I would have assumed that, but it's interesting you're pointing that out repeatedly. But I guess people would worry about like a story about the American military funded by a Chinese company, how that would look. And so they're definitely sensitive to that topic. But I'm with you, Janet. I'm curious about this one. But that's Crossfire to go back in time for that sucker. Janet,
and then my other thing was just the Sonic Pico Park, which is like the doofiest thing to be like wildly passionate about. But it was, if you play Pico Park, it's the same formula. You know, it's multiplayer. You're kind of doing environmental puzzle solving. If you've never played Pico Park, there's a lot of other similar games like Box Boy Box Girl almost has some of that energy, but a little bit more thinky. It was just a fun game that's going to make for some really good multiplayer. It goes up to 8. I thought it was really cute, really delightful. Again, really quick hit levels. Like I was really, it was one of the most enjoyable things I played. So even though it does feel like, I don't know, like a smattering of different IP, kind of a known quantity, I'm really excited to play that when that comes out.
Right on. Cool. Yeah, Sonic Pico Park. That's definitely one of the strangest reveals throughout the whole thing. Okay, bonus pod. We'll unpack everything that we haven't gotten to yet, including Stranger Than Heaven, stuff like that. There's still a ton more, and the SGF travelogue is going to be coming up as well. We do have the top 10, or the list, I should say, for the game of the show, according to the MinnMax community. 6-way tie. Working our way up the list. 6-way tie.
Number 1?
No, going from the bottom up here. So 6-way tie, Persona 6, Fable, Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave, Marvel's Wolverine, Ocarina of Time, and Thief the Dark Project Remastered. Then there's a 2-way tie for Xenoblade Genesis and Gen Atlas. Then it's
Ocarina of Time being at number 10 is wild.
I mean, they showed a boy sleeping, you know?
That's true. No, I mean, yeah.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. Number 4 was Resident Evil Veronica. Number 3, Control Resonant. Number 2, God of War Lao Fei. And number 1, what is this? Final Fantasy VII Revelation is what the community
Never heard of it.
MinnMax community?
Yeah, surprising. They didn't vote for it
Ben
for,
hacked this
for
list.
bonus pod, or for Neutral Plus, I should say. There we go. I mean, do you all, being at the show, do you feel like there was a lock for game of the show? Is there anything definitive in your mind?
I feel like there was a blend. There was lots of people hyping up the indies. Lots of people being like, Onimusha, I think was the higher end AAA, AA, if we're lumping them both together.
Yeah.
It'd be Onimusha or Control would be the ones that people were talking about the most, I think, from my experience.
From the hands-on world.
And I think part of that too is that both of those were like fairly accessible to get appointments for. Like, I don't know if some of these other ones had like, I assume that like the Kyle, you know, the Game Informer folks sometimes get access to things that not everybody else gets to play at the show. So
from a creator standpoint, it was really hard to get appointments for them.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, interesting. Even for
I
think
we got the press list
Control.
later than everyone else, like later than press and media. Like, did not have like there was one slot left for Capcom when I booked.
Oh boy.
So, and I booked 10 minutes after getting the email. So yeah, it was really difficult to get hands on with a lot of games.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I'm glad you made it. I'm glad we're able to get as many people as we can. Janet, by the way, her internet crapped out again, but I'm glad she got back in here to talk about Pico Park and adaptive cover. That's going out the way she
get the
wanted to
important
go.
stuff in.
That's right. Kyle, do you know how this whole thing operates, dude?
Adaptive cover.
Yeah, that's right. The adaptive cover. Crouch behind your URL as long as that URL says patreon.com/MinnMax with 2 N's. Again, if you're a new supporter, you jump in at the $5 tier before next Thursday. We'll DM you a Steam code for Sifu, or if you want to upgrade to the Backstage Pass tier, we'll DM you a Steam code for Sifu, and we'll post on social media, and you can check the description to see if that's still available, but we have plenty of codes, so please jump in. And of course, it's brought to you by people like I'm 8-Bit. They want everybody to know about Scott Pilgrim EX, the physical version on PS5 and Nintendo Switch 2, and they have the vinyl soundtrack on their wonderful online store as well. They make great physical products. They know what nerds like because they are a bunch of beloved, beautiful nerds over there at I'm 8-Bit. So keep them around. Please check out their wonderful online store and use that promo code for this month, Return of the 6th. Return of the 6th. No space for 10% off of everything under $100. We should point out I'm 8-Bit also builds up all of Summer Game Fest. They could not be more intrinsically connected. So fun to have them as a supporter of ours for oh so long. All right, community questions. Everybody ready? Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. Are you ready, Ellie? Because these are going to be tough.
You have to
Maybe.
get the
I don't know.
mic.
We'll see.
Okay, it's kind of
It's a test.
It's basically
graded
trivia
test.
just for you, and it's not multiple choice. Fancy Graham writes in, they say, I know publishers are trying to avoid the GTA 6 blast radius, but isn't packing September full of releases just as bad as that? And before we all answer, let me just run down now the current list, because it's only been updated since the last episode of September. Okay, September 3rd, Orbitals on Switch 2. Then September 3rd as well, Blood of Dawnwalker, that big RPG. Then
Why don't you just, you don't have to give us the dates. Like,
You're
you
right,
can just
you're
give
right,
the,
you're
like-
right.
Yeah,
Thank
just
you.
stack them up.
Okay, here we
Just
go.
Reel them off.
Orbitals, Blood of Dawnwalker, Halloween, Marvel's Wolverine, RuneScape, Trine 6 somehow, Warhammer 40k, Dawn of War 4, of course, Lego Batman on Switch 2, Dune Awakening, Control Resonant, Hell is Us on Switch 2, if you care about that. Hot Wheels, Infinite Rush, Silent Hill Townfall, Valor Mortis, which is that new game, Onimusha Way of the Sword, Gothic 2, Minecraft Dungeons 2.
It's too many.
That's
And that's
crazy.
not, there's a lot of
Calm
stuff
down.
packed in there as well beyond that. And then like early October is also just stacked. And it is like,
I'm convinced that the 2027 is like February, March, and people are afraid to announce in case GTA slips again.
oh, yeah, I think that makes sense.
probably.
I'm absolutely convinced that like all of these titles that we're seeing where it's like, that looks pretty done, where it's just a loose 2027 is actually going to be spring and they're just waiting for GTA to actually come out.
Oh, God. Yeah. So I think it's just like not knowing the GTA date, like what was the safest window we could hit. So everyone's like, I don't know, September seems on the early end. I think we can do it. And now it is just a stockpile. Oh, apparently I forgot Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave as well is on the 17th there. Thanks, Backstage Pass.
Is that also September?
That's also September. Just that little quick jaunt of a game.
Just,
At least they're all short
just a
games.
small one. I'll squeeze it in.
Yeah, I could see some slippage, some strategic slippage. I could see something like a Control being like, we could bump to October 20th or something, you know, like just still have the wiggle room before GTA 6 hits and everything. So I could still see things slipping around. So don't think this is hard and fast at this point for everything in September. But yeah, they are going to eat themselves alive a little bit. Although Bajora writes in with a hot take. They say, hey, MinnMax, let's assume that instead of everyone releasing their games in the months before GTA 6, what if the gaming industry collectively decided to all release their games in November? Do you think they could reach a critical mass where they would cause Rockstar to delay their game?
I love the anarchy idea there.
Yeah. What if it's just every one of these games and Ocarina of Time, they all switch to exactly GTA 6's release date? Would Rockstar blink?
No.
No,
They wouldn't.
no. GTA 5 is still like top of the charts,
Yeah.
like every
Yeah.
month. Even now, like it's what,
They'll
13
be like,
years since it
great.
came out or something? 14 years? Like it still rules the charts. Like, no. No.
It is telling, I think, that
They
like
don't blink.
they don't blink for anything. But like thinking about, we got so many community questions about GTA 6. And you talk about just how much it's kind of dominating everybody's mind. Like it had no presence at Summer Game Fest, and still for the Summer Game Fest episode, everyone just wanted to talk about like the slumbering giant. It's so awesome.
Yeah. We were talking about it this weekend. Like, I'm just tired of hearing about it. I just want it to come out so that it's done and we can move on from it. Like, it's at this point.
So we can just talk about the characters as the personalities that they are, you know, like the content of the game.
Right. Oh, what a novel idea. Yeah. Which of course, Pop Quiz Kyle, the name of the characters are
Mr. and Mrs. Rockstar.
That's right. Jason and
I don't know.
I forget her name.
Oh, I did know Jason, actually. Yeah, I forget her name, though.
How typical of us, Cal. Caffeine Dad writes in. They say, hey, gang, I don't say this to trash Xbox, but that translucent plastic on their 25th anniversary Xbox, it's ugly, right? Does that translucent effect on plastic hardware ever look good to you?
Yeah.
Do we like it just because we like gaming things from our youth where they were more likely to have the see-through thing? okay.
I just want things to be colorful. It doesn't, I think the translucent part is like that's neat or is fine if we don't have it. I just don't need every piece of technology or every car for that matter to be black or white or silver. I just want colors, man.
Yeah.
I'll be excited about colors.
I don't like the metallic panel. Like there's clearly a flat piece inside the front of the Xbox that's like, it's like all pretty and green and translucent, and then it's like shiny on the inside for like a good, I don't know,
you like
quarter of
have
the
to
front of
have
it.
heat sinks in consoles. You can't.
Yeah, like that. It doesn't look as good when it's like that, where it's got like, you can clearly see the patchwork, I don't think. But yeah, I've got a translucent controller right here. Like I love them. They're great.
Yeah, my Thor is that translucent purple, which is like a throwback to the Game Boy Color. But like I do know that when I was young, I was really enamored with it because I was like, I can see how it works.
Yeah, right.
But it's not moving parts, so like it
If
doesn't.
I just stare at this long enough,
you know.
You can see the computer doing computer things.
Yeah. So I think I would rather
engineer.
just have a color, as Kelsey says. I don't. Maybe I could drop the translucent.
I saw, so they had like throwback rooms. I don't know if this was in the Summer Game Fest space of like, hey, here's what an Xbox gaming room looked like 25 years ago, all that stuff. And I saw people like post pictures of like the translucent Xbox next to like, the Mac that's like see-through, the kind of famous Mac design that's the same thing, and like a bunch of other translucent stuff. And I was like, did Microsoft have a bunch of translucent other consoles and systems there, or did people bring those from home? What was I looking at?
I don't know, like, Kelsey, I don't know if you
talking
went to the FanFest stuff. I briefly went and had a look around. They had the console, like, in the entrance to FanFest, like, on a little podium in a glass case. And then the rooms were kind of down the side of the main walkway. And the rooms themselves are really cool, but they were very much, like, set up as photo opportunities. You had to line up and filter in, and then you could, like, go to each one and pick up, like, a Guitar Hero controller and stuff, like, for the 360 and things like that. And it was cool to see. But no, there wasn't like other tech there. It was all very Xbox, Xbox centric, not like Microsoft centric.
Gotcha. Tom Blackburn, speaking of which, they say, I think it's an important question for that showcase, which I thought Xbox's showcase was really good overall. But they say, what would you say Xbox's strategy is at this point?
To carefully go back to exclusives while not making people upset who don't want them to be exclusive. So they're sort of tiptoeing around it, but eventually it's just going to be back to how it was with exclusives again.
So they
it's just so funny because we so recently heard them be like, exclusives don't work. That's not the way forward. And then everyone is like, I know it'll work. Exclusives. It's just...
It is insane.
We just heard you say.
I know. And I think that they're reacting to their mistake. Like it didn't work for them, right?
Yeah, no, it does make sense. It's just a very funny, like,
to go back so quickly.
Especially because for Xbox in particular, they were like, they cited that as like a reason that they weren't doing well. They were like, we think the exclusives are like a bad thing for us or like hurting us. And so it's just like a lot of times I think, companies will change direction, make another decision or anything, but it's just weird to be like, this is the thing that's hurting us. You know what we should try? The thing that we said was hurting us again. Like, I agree it's the right choice because that you have very few buttons to press, very few levers to really work with at this point, but it is just, they're not a trustworthy organization already, and so it's like just another layer of like, we were just hearing you say the opposite. This is weird.
Yeah, they've pressed every button, including the black and white button. So it's confusing, right? I found myself rooting for them to announce more exclusives, which is so weird because normally you would think I don't like exclusives. Let people play what they want to play. Who cares? But I'm excited for them to pick a lane and run in it. And so when they started the showcase and they're like Gears of War E-Day, Xbox console exclusive, it's like, oh, okay, big new direction. You know, everybody thought it was coming to PS5. Some of their marketing thought it was coming to PS5 and was pulled down last second. I don't know if you saw that about like on the podcast they had, the video podcast talking about it, there was a slide that said that Gears of War E-Day was coming to PS5. And so people took that to mean this was a pretty last second shift. And they went out there and said like, oh no, it's just that we didn't let everybody know exactly what was going on because we wanted it to be a small circle and we didn't want it to leak. And so who knows what to believe. But it is weird to be rooting for them to pick that lane. And I thought that was going to be it. And then they continued to reveal all these other games like State of Decay 3, Senua, like, you know, big new either reveals or kind of re-reveals of these games. And they're like, yeah, those are coming to PS5 though. Or it's like, Senua is PS5? Like, how are you picking and choosing this stuff anymore? It is so confusing. And so it seems like the idea is they just want a couple of big exclusives every year, maybe just one. They announced that Clockwork Revolution, which is that cool looking game from In Exile, the Wasteland team, that in 2027, that's going to be a console exclusive. And so I just feel like we're biding time until they drop the megaton of Elder Scrolls being console exclusive.
I wonder if it's related to the whole news coming out at the moment about how the Series S is difficult to develop for.
Yeah.
And it's like a production costs thing. Like, do we develop just for Xbox and make it better and make the pipelines better for Series S and stuff? Or do we develop for everything and potentially damage the reputation of our own console? Like, that is potentially playing into it for like further out projects.
Yeah.
Which is why like things that have closer release dates might be the ones that are across everything because they haven't made that pivot with them yet because it was so recent.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Right. It is just, it's odd. It's, as always, Xbox is just a little odd. And it's an interesting one to try and squint and understand the strategy of. But I think realistically, it's probably like they're making so many moves of just like, how do we just make our core Xbox fan base believe in us again? What levers can we possibly throw? We're going to say this is, of course, the return to Xbox. Return to Xbox. We'll let you vote on Twitter on if Xbox is all caps or not. Like, what else do we got? We'll do everything. We'll have a throwback console. Here we go. Halo, everybody. Gears, everybody. And I just feel like it is trying to play into that crowd of like, Gears is Xbox exclusive. And then meanwhile also be like, yeah, but we kind of need the money that we'd make on other consoles if we release those games elsewhere. Like Senua's probably not going to make its money back unless it gets out there on PS5. Like it's just an interesting spot as always. Philly Eatsteak writes in, they say, hey MinnMax, for some reason, I'm currently playing through Ghost Recon Breakpoint and was befuddled to discover that the skateboarder Rodney Mullen voices a major character in the game. And the weirder part is he does a fine job. I love that. I had no idea.
I didn't know about
Fine?
that.
Apparently quite fine. What random celebrity performances in a game stuck out to you and made you wonder, what are you doing here?
I'm trying to look. Susan Sarandon in Dishonored.
Oh, right.
Always stands out to me. Yeah. Like she's arguably the most notable actor in the game, and she plays like a homeless woman who doesn't have that much dialogue.
Right.
It's really weird.
I forgot about that one.
So that's my answer.
Yeah. No, I think that actually is correct, is any game Susan Sarandon has appeared in. A Familiar Spirit writes in, and they say, do you think there are more games that take place in Japan, the US, or the rest of the world combined? If it's a real world setting, Japan, US, or the entire rest of the world? I think it's US.
So fantasy settings are
US.
Like, right.
Well,
You think so?
where would you put a fantasy setting? What do you mean?
It's fantastical.
I mean, I guess like no final. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, right. That's just stupid.
Yeah,
I'm
you
sorry.
can't.
Look,
JRPG is not set in.
I mean, well, look, I mean, you could say like world
You
ends
guys
with
have
you.
your kings and queens over there still. That's basically JRPG land.
I think the thing I was getting at is like, is that a fourth category? Is it like, is that where the most?
I
games
don't
are?
think so. No, but there is like, it's interesting trying to think of those games that kind of blur it. I don't know, like Pokemon. well, I guess there's one based on a U.S.
Inspired
region,
by-
you know, but it's like a lot of it's inspired by Japanese regions, but I don't think you'd count that.
I mean, there's
Well,
there's a
only
lot
2
more
of them,
Japanese.
right?
yeah,
Because then
that's
there's
true.
like France and yeah.
Yeah, I forget where Ruby
Hawaii.
and Sapphire are based on. But yeah, I think it is just maybe the 2 generations.
But I mean, there are a lot more Japanese games that take place in the United States than there are United States developed games that take place in Japan.
Right.
Like maybe Yotai and Tsushima are like the only 2 that come to mind.
Plus, I'm just
You're also
thinking,
going against like all of the racing games, all of the shooting games. Like there's huge amounts of those that take place in US or US related, like US campaigns.
Yeah, a lot of the
I guess.
US like military games aren't based in the US. It's just you are from the US.
but also
Like-
you think about like, you know, what's filling up the shelves. Every Madden game, that's as US as it gets. That's a
yeah, I
lot that you
guess.
can stack in there, right?
Okay, yeah, I guess if sports games are part of this, then sure. Although Japan will be giving them a run for their money because they also have a bunch of baseball games and then a bunch of Japanese horse racing games.
Ooh,
yeah.
interesting. I still think it's US. I would put my money
My
on that.
gut says US.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay, there we go.
I think we nailed it.
We nailed it. No, if you watch the MinnMax Spotlight on Virtue and Sledgehammer, the Spanish developers talked a little bit about this in a way that I found interesting, where they said that like for their previous games even, they were just making games the way that you should make games. And it wasn't until like the last couple of years they realized like, wait, we're not representing Spain. When we're designing what like fire hydrants look like and stuff like that, we're basing it on either US designs or Japanese designs. And even though we're trying to make a game
That's so interesting.
inspired by Spain, it's still just reflexively, they're like, well, of course, everything needs to look like it does in the US or Japan because we know what video games look like and it's either the US or Japan. And so now they're trying to shake it up more. A familiar spirit. Oh, that was their question. Chandler wrote in and they say, would you find it weird if a fan met you and didn't tell you that they're a big fan? What if they use their knowledge of you to make the interaction go really well? Have you ever gotten along a little too well with a stranger that you became suspicious of this? It's important that Ben answers this. Thank you, Chandler. Did you do exactly this, Chandler, to me at some point? I don't know. I know that feeling. Do you know that feeling of like talking to somebody for a while, then be like, do they listen to the podcast? I don't know what this is like. Okay, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, it's anytime someone just casually brings up the WonderSwan to me, I'm like, that was a calculated move, obviously. That's not like you're not just bringing that up with every person you meet, even in a retro game store.
Right. Yeah. Do you appreciate that? Or would you like them to say, by the way, I listened to every word you've ever spoken, Kelsey Lewin, and I know you like the WonderSwan.
I think the only way in which that would make me uncomfortable is like exactly what this person is describing, where they're like if someone met me organically, tried to develop a friendship, but was secretly like peppering in, like trying to social engineer a friendship without disclosing, would feel a little icky.
Right.
I would hope that they would be themselves more, and but I don't know. I mean, I don't think you have to like disclose that every time you talk to someone, but it would feel underhanded, I suppose, if it was like. But I also think I'd figure it out. Like if you just knew a little too much of the correct buttons to push, I would be like, that's not a coincidence. There's no way that you didn't know these things about me, but still brought them up in this order this quickly.
Right.
I tend to get it where people recognize me and tell me that they recognize me. Because
nice.
I've been around in the industry a while. People know me for different reasons. So, like, people will be like, Ellie! And I'm like, hi.
And you're like, do I know you and I just forgot your name?
Yeah.
Or
Right.
do you, that is...
Yeah.
So yes, please, I guess I'll add, please do say that we have not met if we haven't met, if you're opening
Yeah.
with that, because
Like, how you
that
know
gives
a
me anxiety
person,
every
like,
time,
yeah.
because I default to the like, hey buddy, how have you been? Like assuming that I'm supposed to remember who you are, and Oh,
No, I'm
gives me so much
generally a
anxiety.
very awkward person. Like, I don't mind being awkward because that makes me more comfortable because I don't have to pretend to have everything together, you know? So if somebody, like, I literally had this at the weekend, somebody like tapped me on the shoulder as I was walking by and I was like defensive, right? You know? And they were like, Ellie, I follow you on social media. I watch your streams. And I was like, okay, cool. Hi. Didn't introduce themselves immediately. And I was like, I don't know if I know who you are kind of thing. But yeah, just getting some context as to how you know a person could go such a long way. But please, please don't make it weird. Don't do I'm going to start talking to you about stuff that I know you like without introducing yourself or like acknowledging that you know a person. Because especially as women in the industry, it's very weird to experience. So
yeah, I had a weird one the other day where I was at like a farmer's market and it was kind of close to my kid's daycare. And it was strange because I was like, oh, wait, there's a couple other kids from the daycare that are also here just like running around and playing on the playground next to it and stuff. And so I was like talking to some of the parents from daycare and then this guy just comes up and he's a very nice gentleman. And he goes, hey, I know you. And it was the most confusing tone. And I was like, from daycare? From where you pick up the kids? And he's like, no. He's like, I think you podcast about games or something. I was like, oh, weird. Yeah. So it turns out like the dad, a dad at the daycare where my kid goes also listens to the podcast. So hello out there. I won't reveal your name, but it was just like the weirdest tone.
Convince his kid to get in good with your kid.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so make sure you talk to that guy's dad about Final Fantasy VII. Revelation's going to be a big thing, and it's weird that they changed Sephiroth's voice actor. But also, it was like kind of a double whammy. I think it was like within the same week, I was like playing baseball on the field, and some guy stopped me and he's like, Ben Hansen. I was like, whoa, weird. Hi, who are you? What's this? And then he's like, hey, I just recognized you. I'm a fan. And then it's very sweet because he got a little choked up talking about like the ice coverage and how much it meant to have Minneapolis represented that way. And I was like, oh, wow, that's very sweet. But it was just, I don't know, when that happens like in a short span of time from two strangers, just a little bit like, okay, I guess this face and voice is out there. All right. Chuckles 825, which is what Kyle just did. They say, hey, MinnMax, I wanted to thank Kyle and sites like Game Informer and Kotaku for reporting on the generative AI concerns with Crazy Taxi World Tour. The initial Steam disclaimer for the game was incredibly vague, and follow-up questions are apparently needed now to allow consumers to make informed decisions. As AI slowly encroaches on my job and hobbies, I'm still figuring out where to draw the proverbial line in the sand. For now, I'm just appreciative of everyone here for speaking out to developers and publishers, asking questions, and making sure they are aware of the issues with this industry. Are you seeing any positive shifts in the industry away from AI usage? No.
I mean, yeah, it's first of all, shout out to Brian Shea. Like my byline is on that story for Game Informer, which ended up being a popular story for the site. But Brian is the one that like went and got that quote and talked to the Sega team and stuff. But I mean, the sort of the positive direction that I see from it is like people embracing developers who say they don't use it and are proud to not use it, and then rallying against those who openly do use it, you know, which I think is like, that's, I mean, I don't want, you know, don't go attacking people online or anything, but like the best thing we can do to like share that that's not something we really want in video games is to, you know, share that opinion often. Right. I mean, which I think it could like encourage a positive sort of direction for that.
I hear
unless
this,
it tips into the scary, which we never want.
Yeah, no, I hear them on like the vague Steam disclaimers, because even reading those, I'm like, man, what exactly does this mean? As we talked about before on the podcast, like it is such a blurry line of like, okay, do you care if programmers are using AI in some ways? And it's like, not really. It's just a bit of a mess at the moment. And then there's just lightning bolts or lightning rods of being like, okay, well that clearly sucks. For example, the Kingdom Hearts collection key art that is pretty clearly made using AI. Where I'm like, Kingdom Hearts key art? We're at that level of AI usage? That is...
No, see, this one's weird too. Like, it seems like it might not have been AI, but just like bad, like, bad drawing, or like AI was used like after the key art was made or something like that. That one's a little fuzzy and a little unclear.
Okay, because it was like Donald Duck
like
has
it
like two
seems
different.
like Nomura did the art, and then they used AI to sort of rearrange the layers, and things like that. And that's why, Donald's hand has 5 fingers because Donald's hand was supposed to be behind Sora, and stuff like that. Anyway, that's the assumption. Right, there's not like Square Enix is not commenting on.
Well, we don't have an actual answer, but there's definitely some questions about that one that I don't want to just outright be like definitely AI if we're kind of still digging into it. But you're still right. Like that is the level that we're at, and it really sucks that we are having to question even like Nomura art.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've been talking with my community and like industry people about this recently. Like we're probably going to start hitting a point, if we've not already hit it, where dev teams have rolled back AI usage and they've been like, okay, yeah, bad idea. We didn't like it. We're not using it. But they're still going to have to disclose that they've used it. And how is that going to impact games going forwards? Because games, theoretically, for the next 4 or 5 years, if they've had AI touch it, are going to have to disclose it. So how is that going to impact things too? And with the current sentiment around it and people boycotting things so hard as they should, like how far is this going to go reach-wise?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. We helped out with the showcase for Second Wind, the whole Second Wind showcase. And they had a spreadsheet of like, gosh, I forget, thousands of indie games that were in contention. We had to like go through and choose a couple that we liked that looked promising and stuff to kind of be like, hey, this is a MinnMax approved entry in the showcase type of thing. But in their spreadsheet, shout out to them, they were really clear about like, hey, you need to disclose if you used AI in this game's development. And so it's really interesting to have that data of just like, hey, here's a spreadsheet of thousands of developers, like how many are actually using AI or admitting they used AI. This is not scientific, but I remember it was like maybe like 15%, 20% or so in that spreadsheet. We're like, oh, we used it for prototyping some stuff, yada, yada, but we replaced it. And so I'm sure the number is actually higher than that, but it does feel like we're at a bit of a tipping point now of, the new Tomb Raider reboot. They're like, yeah, we use it, of course. Amsterdam 1666, even that game in the demo, people are finding some AI art. It just feels like so many huge games now. It's just kind of baked into how people use this stuff. And again, find your own level. I think it frickin' sucks, but I don't know if I'm just being realistic or pessimistic or what in thinking it sucks. I never use it. At the same time, like everyone's going to start using it more and more. And if it's like blatant in your face and it sucks, call it out. But otherwise, it's just probably in the mix forever now. You can't really extract that swirling poison in the pond,
the people who say that are the people who stand to profit from its proliferation. It doesn't have to be inevitable, like it doesn't have to be. But it's hard to fight against,
Yeah. It doesn't have to be. I don't. You're right. It technically doesn't have to, but realistically, which direction do you think it's going?
The thing that I'm saying is the people specifically who are like, look, just embrace it. This is the future. Like you can't avoid it. Are the people who want us to pay for it? Right.
Yeah.
So.
Jeff Britton writes in, and they say, hey, MinnMaxers, what's your best impression of the Nintendo Direct voice? And what game or feature would be the funniest to hear in that voice? Personally, I think the Nintendo-ified overview of Insomniac's Wolverine's dismemberment system would be great to hear in the Nintendo Direct voice. Well, that's a very...
Are we talking like just a Nintendo Direct voice that's like all upbeat and nice, or like the one where it's like, okay, we're into the 18 rated games, the mature games
even if it's like the same actor.
Ones, isn't there?
Yeah, same actor, just like different tones. I think it'd have to be... I like the upbeat one a little bit more, I think, before he gets too dark. Does anybody have an impersonation of it? I'll kind of... Does anybody want to raise their hand?
I got it.
All right, here we go, Kelsey. This is Kelsey's take on the Nintendo Direct voice. Here we go. Hang on.
Verb, and verb your way through this stunning new game.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry, this adjective new game is what I should have said.
Beautiful.
Yeah, okay, so let's see. It's like, okay, hang on, let's see. So, hang on, I'm choking. I'm like, Let's see what's the stupid sentence to say. It's like, the castle is already occupied? What's it stupid? Just like the stupid, most vague, like cryptic leading to the nothing. And then they just over-explain everything. Did you guys also think that Direct was, it's weird to say oddly paced, but it just felt like there was just moments that I'm like, this should have been like, take a breath, Kingdom Hearts 4. It just, or even just them being like, here's a new Xenoblade game. It
felt like everything was given exactly equal weight, which is weird.
Right.
So having just done a reaction video with timestamps, I can tell you.
Please.
There's like a section in the middle where there was just 2 huge chunks of like 6 minutes of each thing. And then there would be like 40 seconds, 40 seconds, 40 seconds, like for titles that should have had more airtime.
Right.
And like, I love the endearing, I'm going to do a thumb war, but like, it was a long section.
A long thumb war. Yeah, it just felt like it wasn't the right level of gravitas and kind of rhythm to those reveals and stuff. And it is weird. I know people talked about it, but it's like, if you look at the high points of that show, it was like almost a Nintendo Direct Hall of Famer. But it did not feel that way watching it. And it was like a lot of ports, a lot of just like blog ports coming to Switch 2 or kind of okay announcements. And then I think the thing we should talk about is like that Ocarina of Time leak deflated everybody in a huge way. I think people would be like, that Direct was a 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 if it was a complete surprise that Ocarina of Time was getting the remake, you know? But because of that leak and the weird pacing issues, it just felt like, why does this not feel as good as it should be on paper, you know?
I loved so much about that Direct. Like it just kept hitting. I'd get like a breather where I'd like calm down from something and then there'd just be something else. Like whether it's the Jujutsu Kaisen game or the One Piece cooking sim, like restaurant sim, and then Xenoblade Chronicles and like some of the ports that are coming surprised me, like Lies of P. I was like, what is this doing here? You know, it kept getting me throughout, but the pacing was strange. Felt like I didn't have time to think about what was happening for most things. And then far too long to think about things like Splatoon to say that we're getting a Splatoon Direct.
Right. Yeah.
The thumb wrestling thing was really funny to me because it was like, it felt to me like kind of like an old school like E3 presentation where you're just kind of like, what are we doing here? Like, why are we spending time on this? But then as someone who's like writing stories about it actively, I was like so grateful. I was like, yes, play this for like 10 minutes so I can try to catch up a little bit.
So absurd. Okay, Ellie and everybody else, what do y'all like for question of the week? Which one made the show better? There's stuff like September releases, getting out of the blast radius, translucent consoles, Xbox's strategy.
I really liked Kelsey's impression. I'm going to throw that out there. Her Nintendo.
Yeah, I feel like that improved the show.
You're right. That's true. There's also the one about people that meet you, but they don't say if they listen or how they know. I think that was an interesting question we've never really had before. But Ellie, are you leaning one way or the other?
I always like talking about like strategy and timings and things because the marketing brain. So like mine is over in that realm from like earlier on in the questions. So
okay, like the Xbox strategy.
A lot of good questions though. Yeah.
All right, let's do it. There you go, Tom Blackburn. Congratulations, just one question of the week thanks to I'm 8-Bit. Now it's time for the lovely jingle for Get a Load of This. Hey, get a load of this, everybody. Boy, I have a couple different options. Here's one. It's a little redundant because I think we talked about it. I forget if it was a community get a load of this or something a while ago, but it was at a show, and it's Frank Sfaldi from Video Game History Foundation. Kelsey knows it well. And it's a podcast, but then also a YouTube video, and it's just called We Launched the NES 40 Years Ago. And we mentioned it on the show.
Oh, this is so good.
It is ridiculous.
Did I not mention this on the show?
We talked about it at some point on the show. And I think I was in the camp of like, oh, that's great. It was in my queue forever. I finally went through the entire thing this last weekend. Blew my mind. It's just that level of history that's so amazing. Like, this seems incredibly important. And the video only has like 10,000 views. And there's so many tidbits in here that I had no idea about launching the NES. And specifically, it's just like a panelist of people from Nintendo of America who, designed the NES and launched the whole thing. And it's amazing just to have them still around, being that open, talking about it, and just like the level of control they had over the NES is so wild compared to Nintendo today. It's very much like, all right, we launched the Famicom, use that as like a starting point, but make whatever you want is kind of the idea. So there's 1,000 interesting things, and there'll be a link below if you want to check this out.
It's just a truly crazy get of a group of people. I mean, getting anyone, even if they are retired from Nintendo, to speak like intimately about the company and what was going on at the time, I think is enormous.
Yeah. And so a couple interesting factoids. They talked about how they're trying to come up with a name for the system. And so they had so many different options, and their number one pick was the Advanced Video System, was what the NES was going to be called. Because they're like, we can't put the word Nintendo in there because if the console isn't a hit, it'll damage the big brand. So you want to make sure it's like a siloed brand just in case the entire thing goes down in flames. And then I guess it was Furukawa in Japan. He's like, put Nintendo in the name. They're like, it's a bad idea. Don't do it. Bad idea. But they ended up doing it. So anyways, the original plan, they had a whole list of early names. Yeah, Advanced Video System was number 1. Do you know what the number 2 name that they had on the list, Kyle, was for the NES?
Mario Box.
The complete opposite, literally. Genesis. They were gonna call it the Genesis, but then the weird part.
Xenoblade Genesis.
That's right. Yeah, it's everywhere. But then the weird part is, then somebody on that team after Nintendo, they went to work for Sega. I was like, oh, that's where Genesis came from then. Like, but I never. That's a wild idea that the NES was this close to being called the Genesis. Like, that is such a weird thing that I don't know how that factoid dodged me the whole time. And then interesting stuff as well, like, with the market crash. With the Atari and Atari's games, and so many people were burned specifically as they saw it by the box art of games. Because like the Atari box art, all that old box art is so incredible. It's like these vivid paintings, and then you play the game and it's just 2 dots attacking each other. It's just an absolute 0. And so if you look at it, it's really interesting because remember like you all know it, the box art for Mario Brothers, right? Where it's like Mario like falling into the lava. Right? It's like, this is such a weird image. Why this? And the idea was like, we needed to represent exactly what the game looked like when you play it. So that's why all the NES art, or most of it, is like pixel art of just like, what does the game actually look like? Because we are trying to dig ourselves out of this hole of Atari just burning us and the entire industry. So anyways, link below if you want to check that out. It's an interesting look at gaming history.
Get a load of this. This is also technically from SGF, but I don't, maybe not a big enough announcement to make waves, but Studio MDHR, the Cuphead folks, are, they're making a new Cuphead and all that. They're also making an 8-bit game called Mighty Cuphead Adventure. And when I say an 8-bit game,
that's right, I
do not mean they are using 8-bit graphics. This is hand-programmed in assembly language for the Sega Master System hardware.
Wow.
This game will run on a Sega Master System, and that is just the most beautiful, dorky dedication to a craft I have seen recently. I am so excited about it. I can't believe that you kind of have to dig to get that information. Like, lead with that. That's awesome,
Yeah.
It's on their website, but I don't think they said it during the showcase. I don't think they said that this was going to literally run on Master System architecture and is actually programmed in assembly. I think that's crazy.
Yeah, Keeley, I think, is pretty good with the messaging generally, but he just had a moment where he's like, it's actually an 8-bit game or something. I was like, okay, but what does that mean? But if he would have said it runs on a Master System, like that's exactly the type of dorky stuff that would land so much more, So I blame Kyle Bossman for not getting that wording in there.
Hey, get a load of this. I don't know if you guys saw this. You and Kelsey, Ben, do you know Cable Sasser from Panic? I think that's how you say
Very
his
well.
name.
Yeah. We had a whole MinnMax spotlight about it.
Okay, he shared this post that he was playing Lego Batman, and there's like a screen that flashes on Batman's monitor.
Yeah,
and he was like, and he looked it up, and it said that looks like Commodore 64 Basic, and like he went and got the code and like put it in a machine, and it was like a Batman screensaver, like a little bat symbol bouncing around the screen. And it's just like the most like, I mean, that's an Easter egg ass Easter egg.
I know.
And also only one that I expect only Cable Sasser would have discovered. So
Right. Yeah. It's very cool. Yeah. Right. Links below. You can see it because he made a little video about it, but it was very charmed by it.
Ellie, welcome to the part of the show where we only talk about throwback engineering and programming. So if you have any retro programming,
I'm going to talk about cutting edge engineering and stuff. So
yeah. What do you got?
Yeah. Get a load of this. I did not know this until this weekend. Maybe public knowledge. I don't know. But Remedy have a really specific method for recording facial capture for their games, which if you've seen any kind of performance capture for video games like motion capture, they do all the little dots on the face, or they'll do like the little camera that's like right in front. I know the Baldur's Gate 3 cast talked about this recently, but Remedy have their actors like in a static position, like stuck in, they put their head on like a little rest, and then they have really intense facial capture, and they have to like hold on to bars so that they don't move. And that's how they do like all of their facial capture. Because I had the absolute pleasure of chatting with Sean, who's playing Dylan in Control. And I was like, how is it being yourself in a game? And he was telling me about these processes, because they're not allowed to move when they emote and do like the more physical side of things, because they have to get such a tight scan of the face. So yeah, he's like forced into this like almost straitjacket type situation, and they have a variety of different instruments to allow them to like strain their body and their shoulders and their necks so that the sound changes, but their face and head doesn't move. So I thought that was really cool.
That's cool. Oh, by the way, that
and we saw that on the Quantum Break cover story trip. Do you remember that?
I don't remember seeing
like
the capture stuff.
We went into the room, and I remember thinking at the time, I was like this seems like weird, and like I'm sure they will improve this tech soon. Like just make it like so the actors can be more free. Like I'm not saying it needs to be improved. It looks great, but like I'm frankly surprised to hear that that's still how they do it.
Yeah, because I brought up like how good a likeness it is, and he was like, "Well, let me tell you about that." And he was like, "They've taken like a scan of the inside of my mouth and my teeth and stuff," and I was like, "That is wild." The level of fidelity that they aim for. So
like I think for Quantum Break, I think they said they would go to dentists. The actors would go to dentists and get their like molds of their teeth taken so that they could scan it into the game and stuff like that. Yeah.
Now they just scan it.
Yeah.
Some progression.
No more plaster.
I asked the developers of Crossfire, That's No Moon. I asked them like, why that phrase for the studio? Like, why? What about that line from Star Wars where it's like, that's iconic for the studio we're building? And their answer was it's so odd. They're like, well, you know how it's like, that's no moon. That's the space station. That's the Death Star. It's kind of like a secret weapon type thing. And we have a secret weapon at That's No Moon as well, and it's our performance capture stage. I was like, what? So it's like your performance capture stage is the Death Star. Okay, got it. That's the connection here. Hey, get a load of this from the community. They shared this in the channel, the Discord channel where they share fun factoids all day, every day. This is somebody sharing a blue sky from Eric Sturp, who was at Telltale back in the day. And he posted, and he said, 4 years ago in the Telltale Games alumni Facebook group, Michael Parsons, who worked at Telltale, was asking if anyone had advice for helping his 15-year-old son achieve his dreams of becoming a filmmaker. And then everybody in this Telltale Games alumni group were like sharing links like, here's what I recommend if you want to get started making films, yada, yada, yada. And that person is Kane, who just directed Backrooms, one of the biggest movies of the year.
Whoa.
It's just
so crazy.
4 years ago in a Facebook group. His dad's going and he'd be like, hey, Telltale, help this guy be a filmmaker. And now he's just knocking out of the park. And Kyle, I don't know if you've heard interviews with him. He's 20. He sounds like the wisest 60-year-old man I've ever heard in my life. Like, it is surreal hearing interviews with that guy.
I've heard people say he sounds like a genius.
Yeah. Thanks to Telltale, apparently. But there we go. That is it for this episode of the MinnMax Show. Thanks everybody for watching, listening, sharing, supporting, all that fun stuff. Ellie, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You betcha. Your Twitch streams, number one plug, where would you like to point people?
EllieJoyPanic everywhere. Twitch, YouTube, social media. Just come find me and watch me be weird on the internet.
Sounds perfect. Links below if you want to check all that fun stuff out. Let's see. Kelsey, PP Bang, huge episode drop this week.
Yeah, it's the end of the season. And so, as is, I guess, tradition for a show that's still fairly new, we did another huge D&D campaign with Charles Hart, except this time, Charles Hart went even more above and beyond, if you can believe it. He actually kind of like created his own tabletop system. Tabletop's not the right word, I don't think, but D&D like system. And he's even posted the rules for anyone to play. I had a ton of fun with this. I found it way more approachable than D&D. So I highly recommend if you want to do a silly little thing with your friends. But yeah, come listen to our wacky story of going through the sci-fi lands. And yeah, it was a fun time. And we'll announce new season stuff as soon as we can. We need to have kind of an end of season wrap up meeting about it, but SGF was in the way, so we'll do that soon.
Right on. Bonus pod this week at the $5 feed, $5 tier on Patreon. You get the bonus podcast feed where you get the extended version of PP Bang with Sarah's Loaded Gun, the segment at the start of the show every week. But also in that bonus podcast feed is Bonus Pod. And this week it was Haley and Jacob taking suggestions from the community that were awesome games revealed during Summer Game Fest that deserve more attention. This is kind of like the hidden gems of Summer Game Fest. It's a very fun episode, and you can watch the video version as well if you click through in the description there. Otherwise, we'll have the deepest dive on 007 First Light. That is continuing. We took the week off just to account for Summer Game Fest stuff, but that's picking up. We'll have the post up on Saturday on Patreon, looking for your thoughts in that game up to like the 2/3 mark. We'll let you know in the Patreon post exactly where that stopping point is. But then also we'll have the Summer Game Fest travelogue. I'm really looking forward to jumping in and starting to edit that tonight. So hopefully that'll be up by Monday of next week is the plan. So you can kind of get a sense of what Summer Game Fest is actually like, because we are only able to go because of your support on Patreon and the community overall. So we want to share that as much as we can with you. But all right, that is it. Thanks so much, everybody. Greatly appreciate it. We'll be back next week with a whole new episode. Thanks again, Ellie. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Until next time, be good, have fun, let's go.